All right, welcome back to Waste Some Time with Jason Green. I am Jason Green. It's Friday. It's a very special Friday episode. We've got a lot to talk about today. This is a show that many people have been anticipating for quite some time. I can't begin to tell you the amount of mail I've received. Obviously, my address is all over the internet. And people are excited to hear what happened on the Monsters of Rock cruise. I'm hearing some rumors. There are people saying things that are not true. There are also people asking if Sir Nuno Betancourt was injured during a sports activity. Could that be true? A lot of things. Did Johnny Monaco find love on the Monsters of Rock cruise? A lot of people have been speculating that maybe a power couple has come out of this trip. There's so much to talk about. We have a record amount of people here today. People are lining up. Maybe Friday is the day to talk. I've said this before. There is no YouTube show more popular, has more subscribers, and talks about bands like Doc and Trickster than me. Let's get started right after this. Oh boy, we are going to have a great time. I can't believe, my light just blew out, by the way. I can't believe that we survived this experience. It's although that light blowing out is probably a sign of things to come. Anyway, as many of you know, Stephen Pearcy Band was on the 2023 Monsters of Rock cruise. And that means Johnny Monaco was there, and that means that I was there as well, because many of you know I am the tour manager for Stephen Pearcy. I'd like to say I'm the greatest tour manager of all time, at least the most beloved, but that's neither here nor there. So we're going to talk about it today. We're going to set straight some of this Watergate, if you will, and we're going to take some of your comments and questions. Excuse me, I'm a little tongue-tied with excitement. Now, I can't get to every comment right away, but I can tell you how you can. Super chat, super sticker, super thanks. Those things I will see right away, and I will interrupt my important conversation to discuss them. So let's get right down to this, and I can't do it alone, obviously. So here is the one and only Johnny Monaco. Hi, Johnny.
Hello.
How are you?
Hi.
Good to see you. We escaped the Haitians, we escaped the Dominican Republic, and here we are.
Barely.
Johnny, one of the things I want to do before we get to it started, because there are millions of people watching, is make sure that they understand that some people are new to this. And so I want to point out that my name is Jason Green, and I am the host of Waste Some Time with Jason Green. That's where the name came from. And I, on Mondays, I have a thing called the Terrific Tour Diary. That is the most popular tour diary in the history of tour diaries, 100,000 views thus far. And then on Johnny's power went out too, apparently. Interesting. On Wednesdays, I do a live show with Johnny Monaco, who just got his power turned back on. And then on Fridays, I have an interview with a musician or actor or other type that airs. And today we're mixing up a little bit. This morning, my interview with Lee Aaron, the Canadian Queen of Metal, aired. And if you haven't seen it, check it out. And now a little bonus live show, because I'm so anxious to talk. Johnny, is there a reason why half of your head is cut out of the frame?
I don't know. It's jeez.
Is that a new thing that the kids are doing?
No. I don't know what happened. Someone just tried to text or call me, and it did something.
Someone broke into your house and pushed your camera down, it looks like.
Why is that happening?
I don't really get it.
No, it's all the same. Maybe
are you wearing a Siegfried and Roy shirt?
Maybe I'll try to come back on.
A Siegfried and Roy shirt.
How did I do that?
Johnny, you don't need to do that. Just pull your camera up.
No, because it was set. It's something else. Because I mean, it was fine. I just
can't take him anywhere. It's a miracle he survived Haiti like this. I'm going to do it too, Johnny. I'm going to cut myself out of the frame since that's apparently the thing to do. Anyway, but well, first of all, I got to say happy birthday to my mom. Yesterday was her birthday. My mom gets very concerned if I don't post on her Facebook wishing her a happy birthday. So I not only that, I have to say it here live because listen, we're all very lucky to have our moms. Hold on. Super sticker from Janice. Janice, thank you so much. You're really going to enjoy this show. Joe in Seattle with who had a meltdown on board first, you or Johnny? Good question, Joe. Hold on to that. Thank you for the donation to this process of history. I got to lift my thing up a little bit. Apparently, Johnny Shelgate is now out of style. I have a normal frame. The sun is setting in my background, so if the lights are strange to you, I have a very beautiful view that I share with a tan cat. A tan cat who runs my life. I book my schedule around my tan cat. Luckily, Michelle was able to watch my cat Bitsy while I was abroad with Johnny Monaco. Now, for those of you who might not know my co-host Johnny Monaco, I don't know where you've been. Maybe you've been sleeping under a rock. I want to point out that Johnny Monaco is one of the premier lead guitarists around. He performs currently lead guitar in the Stephen Pearcy Band. He is formerly from a band called Enough's Enough, where he not only played lead guitar, but also at one point was the lead singer. He's a tremendous talent, singer and songwriter. And he also, he was in a band called Tantrum, and or maybe that's just what he had after he left. And he played with a band called LA Guns for a little while, among other things. He's had quite a solo career. He has an upcoming solo record called She Said She Found Her Soulmate. Johnny, tell the folks where they can order that.
Like, what's wrong with that guy? I'm on it. I have a base over there. I have to finish some stuff.
JohnnyMonaco.com is where you can order his past music, instrumental records, singing, songwriting, all those things. And you can also see all the dates of places that Johnny Monaco will be performing on his world tour. And you'll get the latest of when She Said She Found Her Soulmate will be available. Okay, so now you guys know a little bit about me and you know a little bit about Johnny Monaco. Excuse me while I take a sip of my beverage. Thank you. And now we're going to start the show. So Stephen Pearcy was hesitant about doing cruises. He wasn't really a giant fan of them. And during the pandemic, a lot of people weren't looking to go on cruises somewhere. But now things seem a little safer, if you will. Johnny, how are you feeling?
You know, I was really tired when we got back because it was so long. Got up at 6 a.m. and it took us 12 hours to get home. And then I had to go right to a gig. I barely made it. And so I didn't get home till like 2 a.m. I'm still a little tired, but better.
It's good to be in demand, Johnny. A lot of guitar players only do one thing. You know, in your case, you're in demand. You came home and you went right back to work. I don't know how you did it. I felt like I would die last night. I had pain in parts of my body that I didn't know. On that cruise, we ran up and down the stairs. The backs of my legs were killing me.
Right, that too, yeah.
Yeah, and but I don't feel like I'm ill, and more ill than you.
No.
Feel fine. I went out today. Yeah, and so there's that, and I hope everybody else is well as well. And so Stephen was persuaded to do this cruise, and we were all excited. And we've been talking about it in the weeks leading up to it. We talked about the bands who were going to be there, and you knew that Johnny and I would share our thoughts. And I will tell you that we're going to share our honest thoughts. This is going to be a very honest review and recap of what we experienced. And I would say that Johnny and I were everywhere, maybe Johnny on the spot, if you will. And we saw everything that happened, including the tragic incident involving Sir Nuno Betancourt. We will get to that. So anyway, we're going to pick up from the beginning. I will point out, let me just tell you that as an addendum to this live broadcast, there will be 6-part series of tour diaries. Johnny, people are concerned with me all the time that the tour diaries are behind. Those people are morons, because when you watch the Kardashians or the Vander Halen Pump Rules, whatever it's called, those shows are recorded and then they air. We watch the real world. Nothing is in real time. So I put my shows out at the pace that I enjoy, and 100,000 other people enjoy as well. So anyway, the Key West episodes. I accidentally deleted one. Can you believe that, Johnny?
No,
Good news.
it's weird
I
that
was,
that happened.
I was asleep and I hit the wrong button. Anyway, YouTube recovered it.
Mm.
Very, very good over there. I am an influencer, so it helped. And anyway, so you'll see those coming soon. But I'm going to interrupt the flow so that every day you will see day 1 of the cruise, day 2 of the cruise, day 3, until you see as much as I recorded. I don't like to put the camera in front of people's faces. I have a lot of friends who may be considered famous. I don't want to intrude all the time. But anyway, starting tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, day 1 of the Monsters of Rock Cruise Tour Diary will premiere. You can see me and Johnny on the boat for the first time, and the people we run into. A lot of cameos of interesting people and people who've been on the show. So I want you to know that. So the things you hear us talk about, you will be able to see happen beginning tomorrow, every day. And for those of you who want tour diaries so fast, now you'll have your chance. Also, tons of interviews coming, an obscene amount. And I'll talk about those after we talk about the cruise. So, so we've known about this for a while. It's hard to believe that it's come and gone already, because we've been anticipating this Monsters of Rock cruise. So we flew to Orlando on a Friday, me and Johnny and Stephen, and Stephen's beautiful fiance, Christy. Everybody knows Miss Truth Adair. Christy helps out the organization. She helps run Stephen's brand, among other things. And she's a very nice person, and her and Stephen have a very good relationship. So, and there's nothing more important than a good relationship. Not everyone has that. So we went to Orlando. I've never been to Orlando and not gone to Disney World. I would have rather gone to Disney World, but okay, whatever. The cruise happens. So we spent the night at a hotel. Now, as any great tour manager does, I asked another band, "What hotel are you guys staying at?" They did all the research, and I asked Striper. Who better to ask? They're not going to stay at some flea bag hotel. And they recommended the Avid. And Johnny, I thought it was one of the nicer hotels we've stayed at.
Yeah, it's very modern, kind of like a boutique, like a version of A Loft. They have those in Chicago.
Yeah,
I thought it was fine.
I've stayed in a loft before.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with you, Johnny. It was nice, and it was cozy. It was small, but who cares? We didn't need much space. So we landed in Orlando, and as we usually do, Johnny and I went to find dinner. That's usually what we do when we arrive.
Yeah, I didn't like that place.
We went to a place called Fish on Fire.
Mm-hmm.
It was in walking distance. Johnny and I, I had a dish called shrimp.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been easier to just call it shrimp times 3, but okay. I had 3 different types of shrimp, rice and beans, salad of some sort. Johnny had a salad of some sort and a mahi, I believe, right? Black.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
None of it was great. I think it came on paper plates and paper cups to drink. I liked that they were showing the Yankees game outside. The Yankees were losing. Then they had a really bizarre cover band playing. That was distracting. And then there was a lot of bugs.
Smoking. That guy was smoking cigarettes right next to us.
Which meant the bugs were smoking. Yeah.
Idiot. They were yelling. It was really salty, that food. I didn't like it. It was expensive too.
Most $75 for us. Most of the menu consisted of alligator.
Yeah, which they have a lot of alligators out there.
Mm-hmm.
You
I
would
do
think.
not.
Not getting that.
Let me rewind and point out that at our last gig, one of the guys in Great White left his cord behind. We didn't know who it belonged to, and you said it's not mine, but the crew insisted you take it. So you took it home, and you were a gentleman and asked someone, "Hey, is anyone missing a cord?" Turned out to be the great Mark Kendall of Great White. And so their bass player, Scott Snyder, lives in here. So at the airport, it was an arranged pickup where you would drop off the cord to. Uh, um, Michelle is trying to say alligator is pretty good. I mean, are you nuts, Michelle? She always said she's just trying to bust my balls. I know.
They are good dressers. Every time I see an alligator in a cartoon, they're wearing a top hat.
Yeah, or a tie, Wally Gator as well. Uh, uh, anyway, I get distracted when I see things like that. So anyway, with Scott's there, and then we saw Michael Lardy on the plane from Great White. I've known Michael Lardy for a long time. I did some work with Great White. He's a little bit of a quirky guy, and he was with his lady friend on the plane. And when we got on board, I said, "Hello, Michael. How are you?" And Johnny, what did he do? Yeah, it was that, and it was a little bit of a little. He gave a little tinkle,
I just have
and
zero patience for that anymore.
it was odd. I don't think he's a bad guy.
Hmm.
I do. I do think he's an awkward guy. But whatever. We ended up running into him every second. Most of the time, he pretended he didn't know who we were.
There was like 5 of those on that boat. I stopped saying hello to them. That's it. I'm done.
One of the things about the boat, and we'll get there, is that you do run into a lot of the same people over and over, and some good, some bad.
You know what I didn't get when I returned that cable?
Thank you. A $20 bill.
Actually, the wife did. She was very nice. She was very alert in the moment. Just looked at you when you spoke to her. Human.
She's
unlike very nice.
Johnny's referring to Mark Kendall's wife, Bridget. She's a kind woman, and
so she did. She said, "Oh, thank you," and then I threw it one way, and then when she went for it, I took her purse.
Right.
I did the same thing with the guitar player.
There are people just pouring into the room with excitement. I'm sorry that we're not organized. It's hard to stay on track. We have a lot to talk about, and I will unveil my sunburn shortly. So if you're just here for that, I will be taking off my clothes and showing you my sunburn. So anyway, we were on the plane with those two guys. We got to the airport in Orlando. This is before we went to the Fish on Fire Fry. We ran into a friend of mine who is top 10 greatest living drummers, easy. Rod Morgenstein of Winger. He's one of my favorite drummers to watch. I often say that you don't have to play a style of music to enjoy it. I think we're all like that. There's plenty of music that Johnny listens to that he would never play or wouldn't want to. Same with me. When I was a kid, I love Yngwie Malmsteen, and I love jazz music by drumming, Dixie Dregs, things from Rod Morgenstein. Of course, I was inspired to play the Ramones. That's what I think I'm better at, punk rock music. But it doesn't mean I don't like to listen to other things. Rod Morgenstein is incredible. The whole band Winger is an incredibly talented band. So we had a nice chat with Rod at the airport. And there were some other people, I don't know if you can remember, but there was other bands in there getting their stuff, and the rest of them escaped me. But so we had the Fish on Fire Fry. We went back to our rooms. We took it easy. The next morning, a fan, a watcher of the show, a viewer, if you will, Dan Ski, he told me, if you need ground transportation, I will take care of it. I have a bus. So I said, well, he's either going to kill us or he will help out. It's good when you have a show that has fans and an audience. Not everybody has that. So I kept saying, "You sure you're going to come?" And I said, "Do you want something for this? Do you want some money? Do you want a kiss from Johnny Monaco? Whatever you need, I can probably help you with." So he said, "No." I figured he was a fan of Steven as well. You can't just be a fan of me and not like Steven, although At the airport, when we arrived in Orlando, a guy came up to me and he said that he was a big fan of the show and he wanted to shake my hand. He walked right past Stephen Piercy. It was the oddest thing. I was going to point out Stephen and say, "Don't you realize how he's the important one?" But he wasn't interested. Anyway, so we, I'm getting sidetracked. The bus. So I get up early like any great tour manager. I go out and he told me the bus was parked between the 7-Eleven and the hotel because he couldn't fit it in the front. I thought the guy had a little van or a Volkswagen or a trailer, whatever. I was just trying to get out of paying to get from the airport to the boat. The Monsters Rock cruise does not provide transportation that far. There's a lot going on at that time. They can't be driving back and forth an hour. I walk out, and do I ever see a bus? It looked like it was right out of Almost Famous. This bus was, it said Nashville on the front. It was from 1989. It looked like it might have been from 1909.
Mhm.
But it looked really cool, and we were going to arrive in style in a bus. So we gather up the troops, we get on the bus, and I will say that the bus had no air conditioning, or it suddenly died. Now Dan meant well, but it was brutal. I can't. We were losing weight, we were losing water, and we were losing sanity. It was rough sitting on this bus for 45 minutes to an hour. Visually, it looked cool, and boy, did we make an exit. But so you get to the dock, the port, if you will, and it's crazy. There's a million people trying to get on board the boat, and look, Steven's a celebrity, and he stands out. And so, but most people were very polite, and we were able to get to artist check-in. And when we got there, it moved pretty fast. It was easier than the airport. It was easier than TSA. You put your stuff through, you walk through. A woman was calling my name, but I couldn't tell if it was my name. And I'm not egotistical enough to think that I'm that big a deal. I don't really think anyone, who cares? And she kept saying, Jason, Jason. And I was surprised. I wasn't wearing a hat, so obviously people could recognize me. But so she kept calling my name. I didn't see her. I have bad vision. And Johnny said, that woman's calling you. And I turned around. And then a big beastly man reached out his gigantic paw and put it on my shoulder. And I realized it was Chris Holmes. And the woman was his lovely wife, Kathy. I hadn't seen Chris Holmes in a long time. I booked him to play in Vegas many times. One time with Randy Piper, actually a few times with Randy Piper, a couple of times with Johnny Rod. And he remembered our friendship, if you will. And we had a nice chat. And he told me that he's coming on the show with a very special treat and some other people. And I think it's going to make for ratings gold. But anyway, I love Chris Holmes. And the main thing I got out of it was he seemed very healthy. This is a man who's survived throat cancer, severe alcoholism, probably substance as well. And he was looking good. And me and Johnny ran into him several times, and he was very polite. We'll tell the story later about him making fun of Johnny, according to him. But he was great. And so of all the people to see, and he wanted to say hello to Stephen. And even though Stephen was in a bit of a rush, I knew that he would also want to say hi to Chris Holmes, and he did. And it was those are true 80s Sunset Strip pioneers, if you will. So anyway, I was so glad to see him, and he will be on this show soon. So we get through. It wasn't so bad. Now you get onto the boat. Now, for those of you who've been on cruises, what they do is they make an announcement when your keys are ready to enter your room. You could get on the boat at 1 o'clock, but your room might not be ready. Your cabin, if you will, may not be ready until 2 o'clock. I was nervous that Stephen would have to hang out on the cruise. And people are excited when they first get on. Johnny and I were all stars. Everybody took pictures and got autographs and video messages, and that's great. But I wasn't sure Stephen could do that for too long. He's a quiet man. He's a private man. And he's a wanted man. So I got him to his cabin. The room was open. Who cares if we had a key? We put him in, we closed the door. I did the same with my room. Johnny, where did you first go when you entered the cruise?
I think I went to Starbucks.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You went to Starbucks, and then did you see anyone interesting at the Starbucks?
I probably did, right?
I'm not setting you up. I don't remember, but we I mean,
Uh,
you do see somebody famous everywhere you look. I'm going to
yeah.
get to the questions and comments, by the way. Those watching, don't think I'm skipping you. I will get there. Anyway, so Johnny and I, me, Johnny, Christy, and Stephen, we all shared the Wi-Fi package, and so we were able to communicate pretty good for the whole trip. We could text, and if you wanted to talk to your loved ones, you could use Instagram Messenger or Facebook Messenger to make calls. Wasn't so bad, and the Wi-Fi wasn't terrible either. So Johnny came up. His room key was ready outside his door. He had a lovely cabin.
Mm.
I'm going to say, running ahead, the following morning, Johnny changed the bed in his room.
Those beds are not great. I didn't realize that there's padding underneath them that they have ready in case you need it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all they did.
We're joking. I know that somebody's watching going, yeah, right. Because you know that Johnny has exchanged. How many beds have you exchanged with Mattress Firm?
Just like 5 or 6.
Mm-hmm. 5 or 6 beds. So I'm jumping around, and that's how I tell a story. The next day, we were all looking out the windows. It was Johnny and I. It was divided by couples. Johnny and I and Matt Thorne and his lovely wife Ramel. One of the sweetest and whitest couples I've ever met. They really are fantastic. They are, they live in Burbank and they both drive Teslas, but they're great people. Anyway, they were looking out their window. I was looking out my window. You were looking out your window, our cabins, our balconies, if you will. And Johnny explained he was out there while the guy was inside, bringing in a new bed. Was the second bed any better?
Well, yeah, it couldn't be any worse. I mean, those things were hard. It's hard on my hips. I have very delicate hips. And
there are 2 beds put together, essentially, is what they are.
Yeah, and I thought it was like sinking in, but that was someone's knocking at my door. Hold on. No one's ever come here. Hang on. No one has ever knocked on my door.
This has got to be shtick. Johnny
must have. No, I'm serious.
How would anyone know where you live? Johnny, you better grab a weapon.
Hang on a second. Hi.
Hi.
Yeah. Do you want to come in?
Did a plumber come?
No.
Is this the singer?
I know he come.
I'm above you.
Oh, you are?
I just moved in.
Oh, okay.
I was at work today. I got a call.
Oh.
I came back home.
Okay.
I told the owner of the unit to send a plumber and that I would meet them here.
Okay.
She told me.
Johnny is not the father.
I literally show you.
Yeah.
She said I called them earlier.
Okay.
And now they're not answering. I left
these
messages.
people are crazy.
What's going on? Can it wait till tomorrow? I'm afraid I can't find someone to come over tonight.
Okay. Yeah, it's not a huge deal. It's just that, see those papers right there? Mm-hmm. What's happening is the water's coming from upstairs, and I think it's going down that wall, and it's going into the floor.
And literally, this is all that I see on my end. It's
yeah.
So I was like, is it major?
It's probably in the wall. It's not like it's not flooding. It's just that.
That's why I want to make sure, because if it is, and I'm going to tell her, you need to find somebody.
Okay.
The person down here.
Yeah, I went through this with them like months ago, and I've told them everything.
This isn't okay.
And I told them to bring somebody out, and the guy said okay, and he never showed up. And then I kind of forgot about it, and then.
This is the second time?
Yeah.
Was there anything else other than
those of you who
just this?
No, in the bathroom, like see how you see that?
Mm-hmm.
I could see in the ceiling that's happening. Want to see it? Take a picture? It's up to you.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
Did they not know this last time?
I didn't notice it last time.
So this is new then?
Sorry. I think maybe. Okay, see that right there?
Oh my.
So
well, I'm scared now when I take a shower. I don't want to fall into.
No, you should be all right. I don't think you'll be. See, what's happening is this wall right here. See this wall right here is connected.
Is it also wet?
No, but see, I'll show you. You can take a picture if you want. Yeah, I have some issues with the water coming through the floor. So my neighbor's here. I'm doing yeah, come on. So you see how this goes through that wall? That's okay. Look at. So this wall
Going to
is
this
right
nut
there,
house.
right? So it must have been coming down and going into the floor. Must be in the wall, right? I mean, that's what I'm thinking. Because and then this used to be like a big pool all the way out, and it stained it, and it was coming up. You could feel the rug coming up, and then no one came back. I mean, they never came at all.
I think Todd is right.
I sent them a whole stupid thing,
Nobody else.
and I talked to the guy. He was fine. And he was supposed to come out, and then he called me today. He's like, "What's going on?" I told him, he's like, "Okay, I know what it is, blah blah blah, this and that. There's a runoff from this and that." And then I'm like, "All right, well."
Exactly.
He goes, "Send me some pictures," and so I sent him the photos and the video. I took a video and everything, and sent to him, and he never replied.
He's gonna lay.
Well, that's not how I roll. I take care of my stuff and I like nice things.
I agree.
So
Well, it's 101. That should have came out the first time.
yeah, because now it's going to be worse. So then, and what also happens aside from that is now it's going to cost more. It's going to take longer, and it's going to be more major.
I agree. It's common sense. They should have came out the first time.
Yeah, it's just more of a delay and an inconvenience.
Right. I agree.
So,
Lucky.
I agree.
I'm gonna
Yeah, it's not soaked, but you'll be all right. But yes, just so you know, so I put these down earlier, and you can see that they're dried now. But earlier they were all wet. I was out of town for like 5 days, and I came home, and I walked over it, and that's when I realized it was wet.
Music.
You're a musician.
Yeah.
I used to. So I just moved in like 3 days ago.
Oh, cool. Welcome.
And my former roommate is a professional musician.
Really?
Do you perform here in town too?
I do. I play. Can I set this phone down for you? Are you good? I'm gonna take a break here. Do you know the band RATT? Remember RATT? Round and round, round.
He's more like you. He like all this stuff that I'm looking at reminds me of him.
That's funny. Yeah, no, I do. I play guitar in Stephen Pierce's band.
I hope no one can be offended.
Johnny Monaco, Caribbean Cruise. And then I also play around town.
Playing somebody on the kitchen table. Obviously, that's what this is.
York and so I play all across live, and I do an acoustic thing, like a solo, like top 40 thing. But yeah, so I'm in and out. I mean,
I don't know.
The girl, I don't know if it's Emily. Is that her name? Is that the one you're talking?
No.
Which is but it's like
Is that the person that runs the unit?
She's the.
I think this is a bit. I think Johnny's setting us up.
They're all individual.
I think that at any minute Johnny is going
person has their own management. Right? As opposed to the building, which should have it. He should have came up here immediately and said, "Okay, it's legal. Let's go up there and see what's going on." But and I've said I have the thing.
Put in music.
Proof of the like it was in November or something, and I told him what's going on. I showed him it. It was all a big stain. I didn't see anything there though, and then I knew it wasn't from my building or my unit because everything was off, and I cranked it all up. I ran the tub. I filled it up to see if it would do anything. Nothing happened. And then I told the front desk right away. They're like, "We got to talk to your property."
It's a miracle he's wearing pants.
Sent in a thing, and because they charged me for every little thing. The closet door came off, and they charged me like $150 to put this little piece of plastic on there and fix it. And I had only been in here like a month, and obviously that doesn't happen in a month. It takes a long time to put it like that. So yeah, whatever. But I mean, I told them to come out and look, and then they said they would, and then the guy called me. We set up a time. I'll be there at noon. I waited, and no one ever came. So I kind of just let it go.
Just letting your comments.
Well, I would be thinking, just like on a construction defect and all the stuff that I hear from whatever around town is you don't want mold in the wall, and then it becomes like a whole like a health thing, and it's like this little mold can become a big thing.
I agree. Did you buy it or you rent it?
No, I just.
It'd be a very big thing.
But I just so for me, I'm like, this isn't what I want to walk into day 1, 2, 3, 4.
Something's going on, but if you didn't notice anything.
Literally just that one photo.
Where's that photo from?
So that is from today.
No, I mean, what part of the?
So when I walk in,
I know
it is like right here on the right hand side, and my tub is on the other side. So that's why when I looked at your unit, my tub would be directly where you're having the bubbling in your tub. That would be where I'm at. So it's
the tub is like Johnny drilled the hole down.
So it has to be that same pipe. Your person below you, have they said anything about your stuff leaking down?
I don't really know a lot of people. I've never had anybody knock on my door in 2 years.
Oh wow. Do you like it here?
Like it, you mean Vegas?
Well, no, I mean like the one Las Vegas. Like I don't know. You've been here 2 years. But I know you travel.
I'm the right person to ask. I found When I first moved in, it was a little. I found them to be a little not on the ball, and I had to clean my whole place. And they gave me back my clean deposit, and then the rugs had stains, and I tried to explain that to them, and they were kind of like hesitant to clean it, even though the rug should be replaced. So I had to send the guy out, and he's like, "Yeah, I told them that they should have had a pet clean." I'm like, "Oh yeah, because I was told there were no pets here, and that's why I took the place." So there was a couple things with the cleaning and some of the bullshit that was going on and then I kept hearing this guy smoked on the balcony a lot and come in here, and then there's a garbage can right out there that I hear in the morning. So that's kind of receded a little bit, but overall, I mean, it's fine. I mean, it's not like I hang out with these people. They're okay. I don't want to talk bad about anybody, but it's like.
But you're having a hard time hearing me because I don't want to shout over Johnny.
Well, I came out of the house and he's a musician, so now he's like, I was like, well, what if I move out? He's probably gonna have like one of his buddies that he plays with like move in or something. But so I left the house. So I'm like opposite of you. You're like you prefer a house, and I'm like, well, it's just me. So I prefer like.
You like it? So, well, if you're only here a couple days.
No, I mean, I'm going to be here for at least a year.
No, I mean, when you've only been here, you said a few days you moved in.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
But they did tell me, they're like, you can get your groceries delivered. And I'm like, they said something about dry cleaning. I'm like, those are things that help me. So.
I know about that. I just go across the street. There's a Smith's. Right across the street.
I saw that.
My bank's there, and I mean it's fine. I mean it's the way I look at it is for the money. Like mine's not very updated. Like some of these ones I went in are really
nice. The right mind would knock on the stranger's door and then enter their apartment, especially someone who looks like not that there's anything wrong with Johnny, but he does fit he fits the description of a serial killer.
I like that there's cement in the floors.
And this woman decided to just come on in and take pictures in his bathroom nonetheless. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Fame, but Très Jolie, Coco. Très Jolie.
It's cement. It's because there's cement. That's a kind of different
Johnny is
I figure for a house,
doing this. And I think at some point, excuse me, Jason, comment. I think at some point, Johnny may
but I do prefer a house.
Lay the smack down. Sounds like it.
Some big mouth. And or crazy kids run around. You don't know what you're gonna get. So then there's that, and then there's apartments which are even worse. And there's a bunch of them over here. Your car has to be outside, and it's not. So I like the fact that we have storage.
You don't see this on every podcast. And I hope that you're enjoying it. We will get back to the Rock Cruise discussion in just a minute. Obviously, we need to watch Johnny. I will tell you that Johnny, I thought he had a romantic involvement on the cruise, but apparently
I didn't think about that stuff. It just kind of like worked out that way.
So ready to mingle.
I think it's practical in that respect, as far as coming up and down and groceries, and it's a little bit of a pain. I don't do it every day.
Okay. Well,
what's your name?
Vanessa.
Vanessa, I'm Johnny.
Ooh, we're gonna bleep that.
Yeah. Thanks for coming down.
Yeah. I will follow up.
I'm glad that you're on it. That's so great because no one's doing anything. Maybe he'll call me back. Like I said, some of the photos he said.
I really can't tell what she looks like.
So
I don't know if that's
so maybe that's what just happened.
The monitor is very full. He seems enchanting.
Yeah, I'll follow up with both of them. So if one doesn't do anything, I'll call the other.
Come down and tell me you dress up. You go to work like that. Where do you
Yeah.
Where do you work?
So 2 businesses. One primarily in the legal field. So that's why for me,
maybe we shouldn't listen to this.
Something small and tiny, like a little.
Maybe if you guys wouldn't mind putting your fingers in your ears while she talks about where she works.
You should know that.
So, and then the other one.
Michelle, I just want to make sure on the up and up. I believe there's nothing wrong with
He's
this.
a drummer too. I love that.
Yeah, he has a whole thing. His Matt Starr. You can look him up.
Yeah.
It's like a Fu Manchu kind of thing. He played with Mr. Dag and all those other bands. That's off the boat. He played with Winger. But that's cool. Yeah, I agree with you on all of that. And I thought they were going to come down and look at the suit.
This is a long way to go to find out when Johnny's solo record is coming out.
It's just 101.
I apologize to everybody
who
wants to cruise talk. We'll get there.
Feel free to keep me posted if you want.
So yeah, she said tomorrow,
Digits.
Saturday. I don't know. I would assume that there's
yes, a lot of the people. So I'm just talking to Vanessa. He's talking
And
to
then
the
that's why they waited, and then they climbed back. They're like, "Well, is it still bad?" And I'm like, "Well, it's dried up, but I mean, it shouldn't happen."
But I'm gonna be off on Monday and Tuesday,
Mm.
and I'm gonna be here because I have 2 people coming out to look at this unit. So.
Oh, to rent it?
Don't look at his unit. That's too soon. Too soon.
You know, because there's something with my
His
Switch.
unit.
Yeah, see, that stuff was with me. This is like how big is $1 million, whatever, multi-million-dollar place. That shit should not be like that when you move in. My garbage disposal started up by itself once. Can you imagine if your hand was in there?
Oh my God. No, I'll never put my hands down.
Yeah, be careful. I mean, there's little bugs here and there with the stuff. It shouldn't be like that. It kind of lag. You know who would like to know about all this bullshit? The owner.
Yeah.
You know, call that guy. Hey, by the way, do you know this is happening? Because they let the property management run it.
Yeah.
So they don't.
She's a future Miss Monaco.
You go over their head, which is something I would normally do, but in this case, I don't want them to, you know. But it's like there's been a couple things with her.
We're going to talk about Mr. Scary in just a little bit. Right now, she should be afraid of Mr. Scary, who he just she's at his apartment.
Every other day.
You guys want to super chat?
This was
Should
like
be a
the
good
first 2
time.
months of me moving in because of.
There's my boy, or girl, the Southern drummer. Thank you so much. Much appreciated.
Go by itself.
Thank you. And you just watched Candid Camera.
And then the rug.
Get a closer look
Straight.
at what's going on.
I'm talking one-on-one stuff.
Yeah.
And then they were kind of like gaslighting.
You can't really tell.
Kind of like flipping it back, you know, like, well, it's going to be a big. And I was almost going to say like, "Fuck you guys," you know. So, but
I don't think Johnny will get the number.
So then I'll see. Yeah, I mean it's Friday 5:45, so I'm gonna tell her this is what's going on. Here's pictures. This is.
I'll be giving out Johnny's address in just a bit.
Because now it could be something major.
They're gonna have to go to the law.
So
Jason, that's a good point.
I want it looked at because I want to make sure that mine isn't affected either. Because if yours has it, it's coming from mine.
Probably worse.
So yeah.
I mean, if it's coming that way, it's got to be pooling there and then dripping.
Yeah.
But it's probably being held up there and then coming slowly down.
I don't want to fall into it.
That's a lot of baths. That's not what I get it out quick. So if you do fall,
Okay.
All right. Okay. Well, yeah. Thanks a lot for coming.
Yeah, I'll see what.
Thank you, Joe.
If I know anything, maybe I'll come slip a note or something under your door.
Anything. That's fine. Thanks, buddy. Okay. Bye. Nice meeting you.
Slipping over the door. Ridiculous.
Okay. I'm back.
So Johnny, we were talking about on the cruise how we were looking for our cabins and how exciting it was. But I'm sorry. Before we get back to the cruise, so Johnny, you had a moist carpet. Is that correct?
I will now. Did you see Vanessa? She lives upstairs. She's a lawyer and a
Johnny,
lifeguard.
I couldn't get a good look at her. Really, I don't have great glasses. No, the audience could see her.
She's very nice. No, I have a problem. See, you see in the corner there, see the ceiling? It looks like it's got a little bit of a herniation.
Johnny, is it okay if me and the viewers come into your house and take pictures like Vanessa did?
If you're going to wear that outfit, you sure. She's very nice. She's a lawyer and a life coach. And I told her I also knew another life coach. That's right. And that he looked like he was in the Flash Gordon movie. And she's like, oh, and I told her the name and she's going to go look him up right now. So she's very on the ball. I like her because I've told these idiots months ago that what happened was there's some water on the floor here. And I noticed it because I stepped on it and I'm like, what the and then I realized there's water under the rug. So I sent them a photo. I sent them a maintenance thing. You have to fill out a whole thing. It's real formal, you know. And I basically said, "There's water coming from under the floor that I don't know where it's coming from. Here are the photos. You know, let's figure this out." And
Johnny, I understand that part. So a strange woman knocks on your door. She seems to be very attractive and pleasant. You invite her in. She doesn't know you. As I pointed out to the audience, you fit the description of a serial killer in many ways, from your white skin to your beady eyes and glasses to the fact that you're wearing a Golden Girls T-shirt. And not only does she knock on your door randomly, she then enters your apartment and goes along with you into your bathroom while you are holding a camera.
You can't write that. Also, I'm not wearing pants.
Right.
But you know, she was very nice. I think she felt safe. she felt.
Are you going to tell the singer for the Burning Witches about her?
Listen, the girl from the Burning Witches. We're speaking of Laura. I'm pretty sure she's forgotten about me all by now, because remember when we were by the elevator and she walked right past us and didn't even say anything?
That's after you were dating, though. We'll get
we
to
were
that.
not dating.
You went out on an excursion.
Not an excursion.
This woman came into your apartment now, Johnny. We don't want to say too much. She may watch the show at some point.
Okay.
Did you? But she was a nice-looking woman, right?
I thought so. She's
how old would you say this broad is?
In her 30s.
Okay. And the audience says she was a Latina.
She was.
Yeah, that's nice, fiery.
I was getting hot, sweaty when I was talking to her, but it might just be because I have the door shut, because I was trying to help the audio.
Mm-hmm. Well, you were a complete gentleman, to as much as I saw.
That's how I speak to people.
No, I think so. Yeah, I mean, I expected you to call her pussycat, but other than that, I thought you were a very kind. The audience enjoyed it. There are more people here tonight than ever before because they want to hear about the injury to Sir Nuno Betancourt. They want to hear about the things that happened on the Monsters of Rock cruise. And we were sadly interrupted momentarily by a lovely woman who randomly wanted to enter Johnny's house. A lot of adult motion pictures, Johnny, begin that way. It was odd. But the audience seems to enjoy it. It was one of the stranger moments. I will leave it up to you to decide if that was shtick. A lot of people in the audience said that Johnny has found his soulmate.
Oh boy, we did get along oddly. But she said she also has a friend that he's a musician, and she said coming into here, it reminds me a lot of his place, and she's moving out of the house into a condo. And I said I prefer a house. Well, you heard it.
Well, so I don't understand. So she does not. She's moving out of the building.
No, she just moved in 3 days ago, and she's like, I'm hearing all about this, and we need to figure this out because mold. I'm like, yes, thank you. See, I also think like a lawyer and a life coach. I said, thank you. You're right. I agree with everything you said. I've tried to get these idiots to do this. I go, is your idiot the same one as mine? And she's like, I don't know who's yours. And I told her, and then I said, namaste. She says that kind of stuff. And she was making a lot of eye contact, and I found myself looking down. And I think when I do that, it looks like I'm plotting something. But I got to look forward.
Went along with you into your bathroom while you were holding a camera. So she's either very trustworthy, or there's a TV show called You. It's fantastic. If you haven't seen it, it's on Netflix. She also may be a serial killer. Or a lunatic.
Well, I think she, sometimes lawyers and life coaches, they know how to read people. They can get a vibe. They understand. They can sense danger, or sense maybe like he would be good.
Oh, gee, what the hell happened? Okay, obviously Johnny has been abducted by Vanessa. We can see that the lights have gone out. She probably went in, figured it out, cut his cord, and killed him. Oh, you're back, Johnny. Sorry. We were alarmed because we thought maybe Vanessa had laid a booby trap for you.
That was my mother calling.
She doesn't want you talking to Vanessa anymore. I know.
Another serial killer.
Speaking of booby traps, Vanessa, never mind. Better not ask. I'll watch it back in the replay. Anyway, so look, the audience is going nuts. I can barely keep up. People are so excited with being a fly on the wall, if you will. And I got legal advice. It was fine. Anyway, it was an odd situation. Maybe, Johnny, you need a smoke? Or, I don't know. But,
no, what I need is a cold shower, but mine leaks. So, she told me she was afraid that she would fall through the floor in the bathtub into my bathtub. And I said, well, I don't take a lot of baths. I take showers. So if that were to happen, I would just jump to the right. Mm-hmm. But now I can't get the image of her in the bathtub falling through the ceiling.
I told my audience that now that she's told you where her bathtub is, that you will drill a hole and periscope in and watch bath times. Anyway, listen,
Boy,
I could talk about this all day, but there are over 1,000 people watching right now who
that's
want
not
to
true.
talk about there's 2,000, 2023 Monsters of Rock cruise, and that's what we're going to talk about, for Christ's sake.
I feel a lot better about knowing who my neighbors, because I know nobody in this building. I have
She's
not
much
met
better
them.
looking than the broad who lived in your apartment that you stalked afterwards to see who left a terrible smell in your
I
house.
did not stalk her. I merely looked up the address in a reverse search, and with an image profiling device, and I found that this app will basically pinpoint the face recognition of anyone who lived in this building, and I just wanted to see whose mail I keep getting, because I'm just really tired of it.
If someone knocks on my door, call the police, because it's never good. It will not be Vanessa. Most likely O.J. Simpson.
Yeah, no, the people in here
he's
are
my neighbor.
pretty upper. You know, if anyone's on the lower echelon, because they all have like BMWs and what's that car Matt has? Tesla. Yeah, I have like a 2002 Hyundai Sonata that could break at any minute. The underneath is so rusty that the wheels have fell off once before the axle broke in half. So
Yeah.
I'm not doing great. I maybe I could talk to her about my life and she could coach me into getting a better car, like Matt Starr.
That's true. Okay.
Life coach. I kind of need some advice.
Well, it's well, maybe she could also discuss your past relationship with that singer. Maybe
there was no relationship there.
I know you're having a hard time getting over it, and that's understood. It was like a little bit like Greece, where they had the summer loving. You were so close on the cruise, and then it ended, and you went your ways. One of you went to Switzerland, but neither here nor there. So Johnny and I are on the boat. We decide to go out and explore. I bring the camera crew with me, which is me, and we ran into a lot of nice people. First person we saw, Johnny D from Britney Fox. He's currently a drummer for Doro's band. It was great. You'll see it in the video. Then we ran into Naughty Naughty himself, Ted Poley, and we saw Ted a lot on the boat. He's a nice guy, and he was on the show. It's a popular interview, and everywhere we went. And then I made the remark that everywhere you go, you see these fat guys with baseball caps, and they all look like Eddie Trunk. And then we ran into Eddie Trunk, and you'll see him on here. And just we couldn't stop everywhere we were going, and people were mobbing us. At some point, I thought we probably should wear a disguise, a baseball cap. Johnny signed all kinds of things. I was signing Sin City Sinners records that I had produced and wrote songs on. I signed my very first Winger CD. Many people don't know I directed 3 music videos for Winger, but I also directed a behind-the-scenes documentary that's on the Better Days Coming. And I am credited that this person I didn't remember any of this. I also wouldn't sign the cover of the CD because it's signed by 4 of the greatest musicians. Why should I? Anyway, but we were very popular and people were taking pictures. Matt Thorne signed 400 CDs. He didn't know what he was signing. They said he mixed one, he mastered one, he ghost recorded one. Anyway, but we were the life of the party. Nobody was out on the promenade or promenade, as some idiots called it. Meeting. We were mingling. People loved us. And you know what? I will say sincerely that it's great. And when people come over and tell me that they love the show, it's really a nice thing, and I don't take it lightly. And, I sit here by myself talking into a phone and a laptop, and to see that people like it and relate to it is great. There are different people. There are people who come over and recognize me from the interviews, and that is what they like. And there's people who come over and recognize Johnny purely for being a musician. He's a lead guitar player and a great one at that. And those people don't always know who I am. They know who Johnny is. And it's strange. And we usually just watch each other and admire the people give a fuck. And then there's people who come over and say, I love when you guys got custard. And then we pose for group photos. I think that Johnny and I are very much a dynamic duo. People are excited to see us together. Right, Johnny?
Oh, can we just not to – you make it sound weird.
Well, I don't want Vanessa to find out. But, yeah, I get what you're saying. But when we're out in the same place, people, it's like seeing Abbott.
Can you stop out? What's wrong with you?
Yeah,
I have a hard enough time. I'm dealing with the neighbors.
I'm just saying, Johnny, that not everyone has to stay in their room and hide in the closet.
I still can't get the image of her falling through the ceiling.
Yeah, she might be your thing. Anyway,
She's just too smart for me. That's not gonna work out.
You know that, yeah. The last one wasn't so. But anyway, so we were out and about, and I sincerely say thank you. And I was giving out these guitar picks, and I want to point out, they were big in demand, but I socked a few away to give to Patreons of the channel, because you guys are the reason. As always, I say it and I mean it. There's one of my waste some time with a very manly picture of me as a sailor on the back of this here. It says, I wasted some time with Jason Green on the 2023 one, and there's a boat sick. Anyway, sign up for Patreon, and I'm going to send those. And to the existing Patreons. Michelle is already addressing the envelopes, and we'll get those out to you. So thank you. Okay, so the first day, the weather starts getting rough. The tiny ship is lost. If not for the courage of the fearless crew, we might have been lost.
The middle would be lost.
Weather was getting bad. We started to wonder if it was just because we were in the back of the boat, much like Rosa Parks. We didn't want to be in the back. It was shaken, as Eddie Money would say, oh, shaken. I went to Stephen's room, which was a junior suite. It was rough. It was the roughest suite on the boat. It went left, it went right, it rocked. Johnny came with me. Well, look, and Johnny, I'm going to say a few nice things about you before I insult you later. Johnny is a good friend. I don't usually use the F word often, but I've always said to people who watch the show, Johnny's the kind of guy, if your cat was in a tree, he'd go help you find it. And at one point, I needed Johnny's help when I lost my passport. That'll come at the end of the show. But and anyway, Johnny is a good guy. The merchandise situation, I tried to warn them not to bring too much merchandise. They brought 7,000 T-shirts and 400 CDs, and it was very heavy. Johnny helped me lug it to the top of the boat, and we couldn't find where we were going. And we ran into a person who could give us directions, because otherwise we would have been just standing around jerking off. So anyway, David Ellison gives us directions.
Come on.
I like
you want to bang a right.
He told us how to get to where we were going. He said, you want to bang a right, and if you can't get in, wiggle your way in, and then you just shoot over. And Johnny and I were like school children listening to this. He's a nice guy, and whatever happened, happened.
Happens to all of us.
There's not a guy in the music business who hasn't pleasured themselves in a hotel room somewhere talking to somebody else. If the woman was of age, and she was, I listen. Everybody needs to
I gotta say it like that. Just to pleasure yourself. Last time I pleasured myself, I ordered the lobster tail.
True. Well, you guys know what I'm saying, and I in no way am I trying to be mean. I really do like David. He's a nice man.
He really is.
And it's unfortunately I had to see him with his pants around his shoes while he scurried to the bathroom to get a towel.
Yeah, well, that happens to me every time I run out of toilet paper and the phone rings.
Right, but you don't. Luckily, no one puts it on the Twitter. So
well, yeah.
So he was right though. You had the directions he gave us. All you had to do was walk through a children's arcade. Johnny, I don't know if you noticed, there was a sign in the children's arcade that said no photos or video because there are children here. I don't know if you saw that. I did.
I didn't see a lot of children on the boat. Oh yeah.
Well, I think it was for
a couple families. The life coach brought kids. You would think that would have been a non-life coach move, because if that Titanic goes down, you die. But in this case, the bloodline stops, because the little one looked like he was the king of the
he did.
Prince. Yeah.
So Prince. Yeah. So we
not
dropped
the children.
We dropped off the merch, and Mark Weiss was there with Chris Holmes. We had a long story. Chris Holmes didn't. A lot of people don't recognize Johnny right away.
Yeah, people that I've known for 30 years.
That too. Johnny has also changed his look many times, and Johnny really has kept a lower profile. But I will tell you, and I'm going to jump ahead again. After seeing Johnny play, everyone in that boat knew who he was. People loved to see Johnny play, and he got compliments from some of the best guitar players that were there. I'm not being funny. Red Beach is possibly the best guitar player on that boat. He's incredible and plays effortlessly. He's also the second best finger tapper in the world, according to him. And he thought Johnny was great. Everyone thought Johnny was great. But anyway, Chris Holmes, when I explained who Johnny was, he said that tell the story, Johnny.
Yeah. He said, "Oh yeah, you played with Chip with Enough's Enough," and I said, "Yeah, we've met." And then I reminded him.
Keep talking, Johnny. I'll be right back. Keep talking.
And then he said, "Well, last time we saw you, me and Joe Lestay, we made fun of you, and because I had short hair. Evidently, when you're playing metal and rock, you can't have the short hair. And I don't think Joe Lestay should be making fun of anyone, but he's a nice man. He's a big person. And he kept saying he wanted to play some kind of rocking in the free world, something to do with that guy, Neil Young. And going to make a political statement. And then his wife was like, "You are not doing that." But he's like a gentle giant. He's fast. He's quick. You got to keep up with him. But basically, he said they were making fun of me. So I don't know how I feel about that. But at least he was honest about it. I guess he could just go around and tell people what he thinks, whether it's good or bad. I don't know anybody that does that. But so, yeah, that was that. And then those guys talked. I don't really talk a lot about the nostalgia stuff. I don't really know enough about it.
Sorry, I was gone for a minute. There was a knock on the door. A guy named told me that his
hilarious
toilet was blocked up.
Now, I may or may not fall through your ceiling.
Thank God there was nobody over me. I am on the second floor. Condominium.
There's nobody over me either anymore because I quit LA Guns.
Chris Holmes said that he was a fan of Neil Young, and that Neil Young had used the F word in support of a guy whose hands may or may not be small, but terrific and tremendous and fantastic. And his wife told him no. Anyway, Chris is great. He told me he's coming on the show and some big stuff happening in his world. I don't want to spoil it, but he's great. His wife is great. Mark Weiss is great. And we all had and Mark Weiss is, I think they're just dating. I don't think they're married, but she's a lovely woman, and she helps out a lot at Mark Weiss Photography. I'm sorry that we're taking so long. I meant to go fast. I had no idea that a random stranger would show up. Johnny, lean your head over and call Vanessa.
The way these are staggered, you can't do that.
Oh, yeah, I see. Yeah. You fall. Because in New York, there she is. Because in New York, you just go, "Hey, yo, Vanessa, throw down the keys."
Well, I explained to her that there's cement between the floors, so that I like that.
Yeah.
That might be her U-Haul over there.
So after we met those folks, we found out that they had complimentary soft serve ice cream. I said the best ice cream would be to have. Johnny said he's having vanilla. He said he prefers whites, and I and I ordered the mix. I ordered the mixed ice cream. Johnny said he does not like mixed colors.
I tried it later. It's fine.
He did eventually come around to interracial chocolate and vanilla ice cream.
I give everybody one.
You will see this in exchange on the video. We went to a hot dog stand first for free hot dogs, followed by free ice cream. This will premiere tomorrow at 9 a.m. on the YouTube channel on the trip. So anyway, then let's get to it. The boat leaves. It was really rocky. Johnny wanted to try Steven's bed, and Steven and Christy were nice enough to let Johnny lay in their bed. He was not wearing a shirt. He had very small shorts on. He laid down, spread his legs. While they stood up and watched Johnny in his bed.
No, he was in the bed with me.
For a little while. And then he thought better of it. He needed a cigarette right away. Johnny and I ran through the halls of the boat screaming, "Someone give Stephen a cigarette." We did find some menthols. There's a kid named Sam. He has a podcast. He's a young man, probably too young. He thinks that either I'm his father or Johnny's his father, but it's possible. So he is in the bloodline, I would say that. So his mother, thank God, is a smoker. You won't have to see her much longer. So we went up to Stephen. We delivered the cigarettes, and now I want to set a few things straight. If anyone has watched this long, there's a controversy about a Stephen Piercy meet and greet. I'd like to address it. It'll just take a minute. So Stephen Piercy was a last-second addition to the cruise. Saxon had to back out. One of the members of Saxon, I believe, left the band, and they had to back out. They called Stephen. They made an offer. Stephen had maybe a counter offer. I don't get into too much business. It's not my place. But it is, but it's my place to keep it quiet. He then agreed that he would like to do a private meet and greet. Now, with that said, there is a public meet and greet where everyone on the boat who wants to take a picture with Stephen can get it. He agreed to do that. It is at no additional cost. So anyone who wanted a picture with him was able to get one. But he wanted to do a more controlled meet and greet where he could actually take the time to meet people and shake hands. Okay. So this was not my idea. We do meet and greets on tour all the time. But for this one, he wanted to do it. So the fee was $100. I said, I think it'd be nice to sign 3 items for the people for that $100. And it happened. I will say that maybe some of the people at the cruise were unhappy. A lot of cruisers are saying that everyone there should be doing it for free. But in fact, nobody does anything guaranteed. There are no guaranteed signings. Well, there's the Mark Weiss book signing. You have to pay for the book. There's the Rick Allen paintings. Well, you have to buy the painting or go to dinner with them. You pay for that. You pay to buy a Brian Wheat thing. Nothing wrong with that. These people are there to make a living too. And I'm not saying that they would sign an autograph if you saw them. I'm not saying they wouldn't sign a picture if you saw them. As Keith says, nobody rides for free. Now, $100 to sign 3 items. Well, a lot of people who buy these packages or whatever are reselling their item. Maybe it goes on the eBay or the Macari or wherever. But a lot of people do that. A lot of people pay for their trip by going around and getting autographs. Anyone who doesn't know that is naive. So, and then other people come from foreign countries and they would like to have a minute with Stephen. Stephen's a private person. He planned to spend much of his cruise in his cabin. That's not because he's rude. He's a private person. He's not the type of guy who goes and hangs out, although at some point he did. So people started going up in arms saying this was an unauthorized meet and greet and the cruise is never inviting him back. This is all bullshit. The cruise is run by a guy named Larry Moran. Larry Moran happened to be the tour manager for RATT back in the days. He runs a great package. He's put on an amazing cruise. It's successful. It's fun. But him and Stephen are close personal friends, obviously. And so to say it was unauthorized is bullshit. Oh, there's Vanessa again. say it's unorganized. Oh my God, she has an axe. Unauthorized is not true. But Stephen was given an area on the boat to meet people. These people paid in advance. They got their signatures. He took his time with each person. Gave them anything they wanted. Signed more than 3. Signed whatever they asked. And so that's the story. And anyone who's telling you anything else is bullshit. If you wanted to meet Stephen, I tell you right now, if I'm on the cruise and one of my favorite people is there, I'm paying the $100 because I would like the opportunity. Seeing him in the hallway, he did sign autographs for people, but he did one here and one there on his way coming and going. So I want to clear that up for anyone watching. There's a few idiots in the chat. Jay's not here right now, but I will also boot some people for being stupid or ruining the conversation. But I'm keeping an eye out. So if you're posting and you're an idiot, be warned. So anyway, you don't have to pay. That's the other thing. If you don't want to pay, don't pay. But don't expect something just because you're on a cruise. Okay, so that's that. So let's clear up the bullshit. Now let's look at the syllabus for this damn thing. First band up was Vane. We didn't see them ever. I ran into Davey Vane. People ask me constantly to have Davey Vane on the show. Davey Vane told me it would be great, and then he blew me off. Then he walked by me. I introduced myself. I said, "Hi, Davey Vane." And I said, "Look, my audience asked you. You haven't." He said he's got a record coming soon, and it's a perfect time. And ask him again. I hope he does it. If he doesn't, it's no skin off my ball sack. You know what I mean? I don't. It's fine. I hope he's here. I'm always to talk to him because you want to talk to him. And speaking about ball sacks, he's got a great band. Then next up was Rhino Bucket. I didn't see them either. Metal DJ Will. He plays the music. He's a great guy. If you don't
I
know
like
him.
him. Yeah, he's nice.
Yeah, he was on KNAC, I think, and he plays in the Rainbow. He's a very nice guy. I didn't know a lot of the music playing, and to be honest with you, I didn't want to hear the music playing. Imagine being in elevator music, but it's heavy metal. I didn't want to hear that shit. It's in the hallway. They also have it piped into your room, and you have a switch where you can turn it off. My switch broke, and I was running through the hall screaming, "No, no," and asking the steward to turn off the heavy metal. Instead, I saw Chad Stewart. But in the hall that we were staying, my room had nobody next to me. When I looked out my cabin, there was nothing but water. Next over was Justin James and Janet Gardner. Janet Gardner is the real singer for Vixen, the original singer for Vixen. Then next to her was a lovely young lady named Gabby Ray. I think she calls herself Gabriella. I first met her on the cruise in 2014. She was a young lady back then. Now she's an old bat, 25 or so. And then next to her was Stephen Piercy, the voice of RATT. And to my left was Johnny Monaco. To Johnny Monaco's left was Matt Thorne, I think. And then down the hall, Jason Beeler was there, was on this show from Saigon Kick. I ran into Brent Woods. He is going to be on the show soon. He hasn't been, but he's coming. And it was great. We met, I don't know, Adrian Vandenberg also was in our hallway.
It was cool.
Sign on the door asking Adrian to sign their door thing, and he did. It was very cool. So, okay. So that's a little bit of the layout of the rooms. Then the Lynch Mob, and then we didn't watch a lot of bands. Queensryche played that first night, and I'm going to say it, Queensryche played 10 new songs and 3 hits. That's ridiculous. That's the most pretentious, stupid thing I've ever heard, and I just don't get it. Supposedly the next show they're going to play was a better, more hits. I don't get it. I don't get it. I would not see that. So that's just my 2 cents. I don't mean to be mean. I don't know where Johnny and I were during all this because we didn't see any of these bands. I don't know if we went to one band of this night. A lot of stuff got rained out, though. Everything that was on the outdoor stage was rained out. Oh, okay, we went to Vandenberg. Johnny and I went to see Vandenberg with our good friends in Stryper. And we were having a riot of a time. And I don't think we can tell that whole story, Johnny, the one about the jam session that didn't happen. We probably shouldn't tell it because maybe Michael didn't do it for personal reasons. So when Johnny gets around the Stryper guys, he's those guys are. I like them. I don't care what anyone thinks. They don't preach, and they find Johnny funny. Johnny thinks they're trying to save him. They may be, but anyway, Vandenberg was having some sound troubles in the beginning. A lot of the bands were having trouble in the beginning getting things going. Is this a new thing, Johnny, to show just half of your face? Is that another thing you're working on?
It's edgy.
All right. So anyway, we watched Vandenberg's biggest hit was a song called "Burning Heart." We learned they played some Whitesnake songs. He did play the solo on the famous "Here I Go Again" from 1987. They played that, and they also played "Fool for Your Lovin'." Mm-hmm. It was fun. It was fun. And Adrian Vandenberg's a legend. What a cool chance to see him.
Yeah.
After that, I don't think we walked into Tora Tora, and I filmed a few seconds of it. I didn't know who they were, but. And then it looks like we didn't go see anything else that night. Do you remember anything else we did the first night?
I don't know. I was really tired. I mean, we stayed out though. We didn't just go to our cabins, and we were out the whole time.
Yeah, we were men of the people. The weather was really bad though.
Oh, right. That's what was happening.
The weather was bad, but we did hang out. And I wish I could say I remembered. I thought looking at this thing would help me, but watch the tour video because you'll see it. By the time so we retreated back to our cabin, it was jerking back and forth. And we took Dramamine non-drowsy with ginger in it, and thank God we took it. We both took 2 of those. I took it with aspirin as well. Is she back? Vanessa just okay, folks. You know where Johnny lives. Call the authorities. Vanessa has black. Oh, okay, Johnny. Sorry, we keep losing you, and now we lost your audio. Your mic is muted. If you can hear me, your mic is muted. Oh, I see. He's doing something. Okay, his mic is muted intentionally. Okay, so I'll just keep talking. I think Johnny's taking a phone call with somebody else, possibly Vanessa or possibly someone else. But anyway, so we were very seasick. We went to a thing called the Windjammer, and the Windjammer is the buffet on the boat. If you've never been on the boat, they make you wash your hands before you eat. That's not a bad thing, but they go washy, 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 washy. Everyone says washy, washy. And some people sing, here comes a note. And then some people sing the washy, washy song and those type of things. I gained 75 pounds on this cruise. We just ate and ate and ate, and you're not used to having food available whenever you want it. So at all hours you go down. One of the fun things about the boat is no matter where you go, you run into people who you may have grown up listening to or favorite musicians. It's cool. It's cool to look at a table next to you and constantly see somebody. And I understand why fans like that. I am a fan too. We retreated to our cabins to sleep, not together. We had separate cabins. And it was a herky-jerky night. It was a little rough. And the next day we woke up, and that would be on Sunday. Thankfully, we woke up. And they had some painting classes. I believe there's a charge for those. I didn't see Johnny's note. He made a note. Johnny, you want to? This is like amateur hour. What happened?
I'm making this wait. So the people that work in this building should be wearing helmets. And she just called me. She's like, "Hi, this is the front desk. Evidently there's a leak in the ceiling, and it's trickling down into your. And the girl above you wants me to give you her number."
Of course.
They're making this like this. So I said, you know what? First of all, I'm the one who started this, and she was just down here, and we spoke about it. Oh, well, well, do you want the number to call her? I said, well, I mean, do I need to? Because she was down here, and we spoke about it, and I showed her everything, and we're getting, well, do I need to call a plumber? And I said, well, I mean,
you told her that you should call a plumber because you intend on laying pipe.
So now I have the phone number here, and that's not going to do anybody good at 2 a.m. after a couple scotches. Hey, listen to me, you little hot potato, you Cheeto. Listen to me. When you first met, I was a little embarrassed because I wasn't wearing pants, and you looked so good. Ow!
It's a preview of what's to come in Johnny's life.
But anyway, let's not beat around the bush. I felt leaking.
Johnny, the audience is thinking Amber is here. Hi, Amber. She thinks that maybe Vanessa has a better mattress. Maybe you can move into her place.
Oh, that's kind of something. Sure, we both got leaky weeks. We're just different people. Just going to see my car and go, I think we should see other people. No, but I have liability. I hurt my leg falling.
So I got up early.
I don't know what they want me to do.
they're trying to set you up. So that day they had a bunch of things, including the cooking with rock stars. I skip all that bullshit. I went to see Michael Schenkel because Steven was playing that day. Johnny stayed in his room like any great musician and prepared and did all those things. He practiced his mixolydians and his refrigerators and arpeggios. He went to GIT. And I went to see Michael Schenker. And it was fantastic. Michael Schenker was great. He's a singer. I believe his name
it was great. That was the
I
best.
saw it twice. Johnny went with me the second time. He was so good.
That was the best.
Singer's name is Ronnie Romero. He's terrific. I believe he's from Puerto Rico. Really great. I can't. 1 hour is long enough for a show too. That's all I need. So anyway, I saw it twice. So once in the Royal Albert Hall Theater and once in the Studio Icecapades Theater with Johnny. And he's great. Ronnie Romero sings, and he opens with Into the Arena, and then he plays all the songs you want to hear. Rock Bottom, Lights Out in London, and he's just great. And Michael Schenker's got a good thing going. So I had a good time with that, and then I had to get to work. Actually, I think then Johnny and I met for a little while after lunch. We went to the pool stage, and we saw Chris Holmes, and Chris Holmes was great. It was so much fun. Listen, you got to get fill-in musicians. Well, he got good fill-in musicians. These guys could sing Wasp. They could play Wasp. Johnny and I both noticed no one has ever played louder than Chris Holmes. It was insane. We're at a swimming pool, and it was still deafening. But he was great. He was in good spirits. He did close his set with Fuck Like a Beast for those who were concerned. I noticed that there were people running around in thongs, including a man. But not, he was doing it to be ridiculous. And so as he was running around, I told Johnny, Johnny, go over there. And Johnny knows comedy. He's a funny man. And so Johnny told me, no. As he said no, he was moving closer to the scene of the crime to make for a good video. Johnny, tell me a little bit about that guy's song.
Oh, God, it was terrible. First of all, he looked like one of those hot dogs at the gas station that they leave on the grill too long. And he had a lot of wardrobe changes. And the one that I think you're referring to is one of those, I think they call them a banana cabin. What is it called? Hammock, yeah, banana thong. So it's very streamlined and it covers the gourd. And then it's like a bikini. So you gotta, you should really shave that area. Right. So it wasn't shaven. And it was covers the horn, and then it goes right up the butt, like the girls wear, because evidently that's walking around like that with their fat asses, and it go right up their crack, but then you got the grapes of wrath hanging from the back,
right?
It's from the front you don't really tell, but then you go behind and it's just like a pendulum of low-hanging grapes. A lot, too. Almost to the point of elephantitis. And he was bending over and he was like, walking around. It was almost like a shaman-looking kind of guy. He was very, very, very spirited. Crazy. And it was just, everyone's taking photos. That's what they want. Now, I was also thinking... What?
I would say they're going to want to watch that on the tour diary because I do have video of this happening.
I was almost about to wear one of those. I think I used to call them Speedos, but they don't call them that anymore. They're like with the swim racers wear. Because I think it would be very, freeing. And but I decided I don't know. I think it would be like a novelty act if you did that. Who walks around like that? I mean, you can if you're in France. The Europeans wear them more than they do here. If I was really buff, it would still be weird, to wear that. It'll take me about 6 months to get into one of those.
All right. Indie Cult, thank you so much for your super chat. Your question will be answered when we get to the Striper portion. He wants Johnny to answer what he thinks of Oz and Mike. Apparently, they're friends. They call him Mike. He'll answer that in a little bit. We'll talk about Strippers. So we're out at the pool. I go and I'm filming Chris Holmes, and then I run into my friend Courtney Cock from not from Friends, but from the Iron Maidens. She's been on the show. We met on a Monsters of Rock cruise, and we met because she's a fan of Winger. I introduced her, and Anita Strauss, who I would end up managing. So anyway, as I'm talking to Courtney Cock, I watch, and then I step back, and there's a woman in the in a hot tub just by herself, and she's she looked attractive. And when Johnny saw her, I heard the music, and a light shined down on her, and she came out of the pool like Phoebe Cates in Fast Times, and suddenly he began, and I filmed this. You'll see it. I was filming the show, not her, but she was in my frame, and
Wing and stereo.
love. I would say Johnny's playing Love in Stereo, so you can get the full picture. And she began to oil her bottom, if you will.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, well, you weren't seeing her yet. So otherwise I would not have looked or filmed her if I knew that she would become the future. So but again, I had skin cancer, and I respected that she put lotion all over her body for everyone watching Chris Holmes to see. So as Chris Holmes is singing how he fucks like a beast, or an animal, if you will, this lovely young woman was lotioning her body. She was the only woman that was doing that. The rest of the Burning Witches, we later found out she is the singer, Burning Witches. The rest of those ladies were just hanging around. So Johnny laid her eyes on her tush, if you will, and but there was no words exchanged just yet. We went in and had a nice lunch. I don't really remember, but we had 10,000 lunches. I think that's a TNT song.
Yeah, right.
And I was in an elevator, and then all of a sudden I look over to my right, and it's Todd Muscat, the brother of Brent Muscat. Brent Muscat and I had a falling out quite some time ago, and I wish we didn't. And I would like to have Brent Muscat on the show and lay it all to rest. He did some things. Maybe I did or said some things. I'm okay with that. And Todd told me that he doesn't talk to Brent. Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to say what. Yeah. But Brent also had some public troubles. He spoke about it, and so that's on him. But Todd said he doesn't talk to him that much. But he thought, hey, maybe it is a good idea to reach out. And he was very nice. And then I also met Pat Mazingo, who's the drummer for Junkyard. And we actually ended up hanging out with all the Junkyard guys, including David Roach, who was on the show. They're nice guys. That's the kind of thing. You get in the elevator, and there's somebody that you may know. Okay, so we're getting ready for the Stephen Pearcy show at the Royal Albert Hall concert stage. This is the indoor show on the boat, and Stephen, you have to have security come to his room, and then they walk you through the back. We all went as a group. They would do a sound check. Scott Coogan is on tour right now with Tiffany, and he's doing double duty as the drummer for Ace Frehley for a few shows as well. And I think he told us some other thing that he's doing. The guy wasn't very funny. But so, anyway, so anyway, he was busy. We got Will Hunt. Will Hunt is an incredible drummer. A few people stole the show on the boat, Johnny Monaco being one of them. But people loved Will Hunt. He's a great drummer. He was in Slaughter. He is still in Evanescence. And we had a nice sound check. The band played well. Stephen came out early that day. He probably regretted it. There was nowhere really to hang at those places. But the boat was rocking pretty bad. The speakers just sway. It's a little scary. If they fall on you, you would be crushed. So the show happens, and it was great. People loved it. It was the most crowded show I saw in that room, and I heard it was the most well-attended. A lot of famous musicians went to see it, and a lot of them said they had to go to the balcony because there was no other room. And they all said great things about Johnny and Stephen and Will. So anyway, so that's the show. Johnny, I know you're packing apparently, but is there anything you want to say about that show?
I don't know. It was tricky because we're playing out on the outside, and it was like in the middle of the water, so kind of humid.
About the theater.
I never really played good outs. I thought it sounded good. Yeah, I thought the room sounded good on stage. I could hear everything. Thought I played okay. Stephen was pretty funny. I don't remember. I think it was fine. Yeah, it was good.
You posted a picture of the outfit you wore. It has over a few thousand likes now. You're the king of the internet. You going for a Johnny Thunder sort of look. Very sexy.
Well, these kids, those freaking Finnish kids were walking around dressed like that. And I'm like, pricks. I'm thinking I used to dress like that in '82.
18 or 19?
I'm thinking.
Keep talking, Johnny.
You're not that much younger than me. So it's like that doesn't mean anything. And
maybe 2 decades. I'm not sure. I haven't seen your ID.
No.
No, I'm pushing it.
We still have iPhones. It doesn't matter if we both have iPhones.
All right, you're right.
It's like the same thing. So, but it's like they were walking around with that look, and I'm like, could do that. So I thought I would try it, and then I looked in the mirror, and I looked like Elvira went wrong. I seen the pictures, and that's all you see is like a silhouette of my hair. It's kind of ridiculous.
Stephen loved it.
It looked like I know he liked it a lot. I felt a little ridiculous. It was like a Halloween costume, or like Steve Stevens, kind of a vibe, or Mick Mars or something. It was really big. I mean, I like that kind of in the back because it gets really out and it goes like kind of like an alien,
You
like
had
an alien's the head.
You had the best hair on the boat, Johnny. It was humid. I can't do it. My people have walked through the desert for hundreds of thousands of years. My hair is not meant to be out in that weather. You look great. It was a great show. Listen, Johnny, I don't want to do an entire Stephen Piercy show because we have other things to talk about than just sit and dwell on everything. Obviously, people know Stephen is great. Obviously, it was packed. Obviously, he has more hits than anybody. And it was great. And anyway, so then as the night went on, we went to see Spike of the Choir Boys, and Spike was great. And I was that Michelle loves Spike. She's a fan of the Choir Boys, and my friend Rachel is also big. A lot of people between the ages of 25 and 30 are really rediscovering the Choir Boys and love it. And you know what? That music doesn't age so poorly. Some of the glam bands, it gets silly. But that kind of music, that Rod Stewart Stones kind of vibe, it's aged well. And so I didn't know what to expect. We went in, and Spike was very good. He was acoustic. He had another guitar player with him, and he tells stories, and he's funny, and he's good, and funnier than most of the people they call comedians on that trip. And he then sings, and we saw most of the end of the set, and 7 o'clock was the big hit, and it was great. We really liked it, and we had a chance later to talk to him, and he was supposed to be on the show, but Guy Bailey, the original guitar player who wrote the songs with him, had passed away, and so he wasn't ready to come on the show. We talked. He gave me his number, and Johnny, he's in, he's English, so his phone number is one of those numbers like 0114488866653127865110004-3. So it's a little. I'm trying to figure out how to text with them. But so anyway, Johnny said, "This guy reminds you of somebody, doesn't he?" And I said, "Yeah, Captain Jack Sparrow or Dudley Moore." But he's funny, and him, Johnny, had a few good chats about Enough Is Enough. And Chip, who is in the fake Enough's Enough, also played with the fake Choir Boys. I will tell you right now, a band called Enough's Enough with a bass player singing is a joke. But the fact that there's a band called the Choir Boys with a rhythm guitar player who didn't play on the first record and joined, it's bullshit. It's ridiculous. Ike is the Choir Boys. He has a record coming out. We'll talk about it. Michelle, he was nice enough to make a video for Michelle talking, and he's a good guy. I like Spike. And I recommend you don't go see any bullshit Choir Boys. Wait for Spike. That's the guy to see. We caught the tail end of Ted Poley. We saw Danger Danger. Chad Stewart loves to sing to people. I like Chad. I really do like him. He's a nice guy. His cohort, Danny Slim Tender, is a mess, though. That guy was sleeping on the stairs, falling over where he goes. I don't think it's funny.
He said that he couldn't find his room the first night, so he slept on the stairs in the hallway.
Yeah. I don't think it's funny. I think we're taking advantage of a guy with a problem. When I interviewed Bridget West from his band New York Blues, she said he was like that in 1989. Whatever. One day he's going to drop dead, and you're all going to. Its blood will be on your hands. But anyway, Todd is a question. Does Red Beach really consider himself the second best world? Second best finger tapper. He didn't say he's the best guitar player. He's the best finger tapper. Second best. Eddie Van Halen being the first. So anyway, Chad he's always waiting. He's always at the end of waiting to come up and sing. He likes to get naughty as much as the next guy. There was a bunch of people on stage. I didn't really know who they were. Ted Poley's figured out a racket. He's figured out how to get everyone on the cruise to talk about it. He's now the captain, they call him. And he's a nice guy. I like that. But he's a little, he's trying to make shit happen. So he had some younger people up there jamming with him. And I give Ted all the credit. Johnny and I saw, as much as we were going to see. We went to the pool stage. We saw a little bit of Great White. Johnny and I are friends with all of Great White, except Michael Lardy. We like him, but he doesn't really address us. But the other guys...
address? I think the word you're looking for is acknowledge.
Acknowledge, yeah. Are you trying to imply something about address? Anyway, we like the kid Brett Carlisle. Johnny and I are fans of him. We feel like we have to take him under our wing, so we give him lots of advice. Hold on, a question. Indie Cult has a super chat. Thank you so much. Is the public Steven the same as the private Steven? Yeah, right, Johnny?
I think so. Yeah,
he's the same. I think he's the same exact guy. I mean, maybe he's a little. He said says a few wilder things in private, but he's the same guy and a good guy. And I'm honored to work for him. So anyway, we saw Great White. We like those guys, and then we went to Stryper in the Royal Albert Hall to see our good friend Stryper, as I said, and we always see Stryper. Johnny and I are friends of Christ, and Michael Sweet was wearing the strangest shirt I've ever seen. He had this flowing black shirt that looked like he was going. To a quinceañera. And I said, Johnny, we got to go backstage and tell him what the hell's he doing. And I said, his wife, poor Lisa, must be running around topless because obviously Michael's wearing her shirt. This was a dumb shirt. We're not
puffy shirt.
A puffy shirt. It was the Seinfeld puffy shirt in black. So we're not in. We just walk backstage. We're royalty. I am in the bloodline of their beloved. And so I can go anywhere I like.
You saw how that ended.
Well, that may be. 40 lashes. Anyway, we went up to the dressing room. It's upstairs, and we talked to them, and they're great sports. And me and Johnny proceeded to roast Michael Sweet. I told Lisa, thank God you weren't a shirt because we thought Michael borrowed yours. And we continued to say that he looked like he was in the movie Coco. And he was a mariachi. Yeah,
just got off the Pinta, the Nina, and the Santa Maria.
We really gave it to him, and and for a guy who's been known to say controversial things, he was great. He had a good sense of humor, and promised he would never wear that shirt again. He told us it looked like something people would wear on the sea. He thought he looked like a pirate. He looked like a pirate. Butt pirate.
And I told him if he wanted to do that, he should have kept the eye patch.
That's right. And his bandmates enjoy that we can give it to him a little bit, not like that. Anyway, so then they invited us up to their room. You're the one who showed him the video.
He hit the Twitter button.
And we can't talk about it. So we went up to their rooms. Robert invited us in. And we had a nice time. I like Robert Sweet too. Another great guy. And they wanted to go to. Well, first they all did this app recording. They made our faces look like big fat guys, and and they put it on the Instagram. Michael wrote me last night and was saying that he thought it was fun, and he also said it was great to see us and spend some time. I like Striper. I woke up this morning with the devil in my head. I couldn't get it out. Indie Cult wanted to know your feelings on Oz and Michael's guitar playing.
Oh, yeah, they always play good. I mean, growing up, I was listening to the harmonies and just the guitar tone and the beyond the notes and the shreddy stuff, and they both have good vibrato, which I think is super important because I see a lot of guys that can play a million notes and they're fast, but the phrasing is kind of choppy, and when they vibrato, they do like a BB King thing. I prefer the wide vibrato, like a Randy Rhoads, Van Halen kind of thing better.
Yeah. So anyway, they were a lot of
fun. You can't teach that.
Right. They invited us all to the Windjammer to have a meal. The Windjammer being the buffet, it's open late. When it closes, sometimes people get angry and get violent. We'll get to I think that happened next. I think that happened the next day. It did. So we'll get to that. So anyway, they get a long table, looked much like the Last Supper. And I looked around the table and I realized what could happen. I know how the Last Supper ended, and I thought my bloodline might be extinct that night. Fortunately, the guys in Striper did not nail me to a cross. Johnny, I thought could Judas me. I wasn't sure, but he did not kiss me, and therefore I thought we're fine. Johnny, what are we doing?
What?
What is this a new thing? Is this what the podcasters are doing now?
I just had a taste for more coffee today, which is probably not good. It's really late for me to be drinking coffee, but I haven't eaten. I'm trying to. After seeing myself in my swimming suits, I don't know.
Anyway,
work out.
Anyway, so we hung out with Striper. We ate with them. We broke bread, if you will. And then we ran around the boat. There's a bunch of jams. I don't care for any of that stupid shit. I don't care about comedy. I don't care about jamming. For the most part,
You know who else doesn't care about? You know who else doesn't care about the comedy?
Who's that?
The comedians.
The comedians. Yeah, we'll get to them too. Okay, I'm trying to move fast, folks. That's day 2. We're on day 3. I hope everyone's still watching. Again, there's 2,500 people watching right now. So the next day was Monday. The ship goes to Puerto Plata in the Dominican Republic. I've said that I never expected to ever go to the Dominican Republic. The only thing I knew about it was they shot Big Papi. I didn't know what to think. I grew up in New York and Washington Heights. My friends were Puerto Rican, Baricuas, if you will. And maybe Stephen Pearson will sleep. Maybe we'll go to Puerto Rico this year. Could happen. Anyway, we poke our heads out our cabin windows as we do every morning. And it's like the Ricardos and the Mertzes, and Matt and his lovely wife said that they were not sure they were going to go to the Dominican Republic. I talked them into it, and they went out with me and Johnny. We all got together as a group, as a family, if you will, and we went out onto the island. We boarded. We went to Puerto Plata. There was not much to see. It looked like Town Square. It looked like any outdoor shopping mall. There was not much there. They had a stand that sold coconuts. The guy chops it up with a machete, and you stick a straw in it. I cannot drink a full drink of coconut because I am aesthetic. Coconut is sweet, like Michael and Robert, and also there's alcohol in it, rum. I can only have a little bit. So I got a straw and I stuck it into Johnny's coconut, which is now
unbelievable.
I couldn't have my own. And then
you gotta felch my coconut.
And the Thorns of Burbank were nice enough.
They bought it for us.
Pay for it, yeah. And they look at us.
Those were expensive.
Yeah, they were cheaper the more you
They
buy.
were very cheap.
So
I don't know about that, but
I got woozy. Well, no, I think it was they bought one for everyone in the village because they're very generous.
And by bought, you mean they bought everyone a Tesla?
Right, that's right. You get a car. You get a car. Anyway, so we continued to Puerto Plata. Matt spoke to parrots. Apparently, parrots are big Rough Cut fans, and
that was where Tony Tony Beretta's parrots. It
That's
kept
right.
running around saying, "He killed her! He killed her!"
Yes, that's true. It was if you remember Beretta and great Robert.
Behind the dumpster. Behind the dumpster.
Yeah, he was telling us where to find the weapon. And so we walked around. We saw Matt Starr. He's a life coach. He had his entire family with him. He's a nice guy. He's a nice guy. It's interesting, but he's a nice guy. And then also we saw Brent Woods. He was not wearing a shirt. I don't think he likes fabric. We did see him. I don't know who else. We saw some other people. I don't want to be a mean guy, and I'm not going to be, but there was one guy we kept seeing, and he was wearing a black tank top, black jeans, black sneakers, a studded belt, a black headband. He had jet black hair, and he spoke to basically nobody. I don't
that guy, yeah.
I don't think we should even say his name. He was in a few bands, but he was like,
I don't know his name, do I?
I know it. I recommended somebody else. I recommended somebody else for a job that he wanted or whatever was up for. I don't.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I don't know what he sounds
That's
like,
crazy.
but he's so weird standing around and leaning around. He looked like a big ostrich, and he's always by himself. I don't know. It just looked weird. And why not say?
Oh, him. When you said ostrich, I put it all together.
Oh, okay. You thought it was somebody else?
Yeah. I thought it was the strong guy with the guitar.
Oh, we'll get to him. Indie Colt says, Johnny, Vanessa said she found her soulmate, ? Thank you, Indie Colt, for this. Thank you. So anyway, so we walked around.
What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?
Vanessa? Hold on.
I just want to say, I want to say, nothing can keep us apart.
At that point, we left the boat. We toured the island for a minute. They told us if you go one step over the border, they just automatically kill you. They once tried to steal Matt's shoes. He was wearing 50,000 Air Jordans for that record, but that's how they do it in Burbank. But anyway, we went back to the boat, and let's see what is happening. Johnny and I went to see Michael Schenker. Extreme was playing at the pool stage. That happened first. So we did a live video. It's on here if you want to see it. It's only being monetized partially because I have to share with Extreme. The Wi-Fi was bad, but if you want to see some of it, you can. Johnny and I watched Extreme, and Johnny was blown away by Nuno. I'm not going to lie. Johnny talked a lot of trash. He said he wasn't sure he liked them, and blah, blah, blah. But the only odd thing was that right next to the ice cream machines, Nuno had 50 Marshall stacks set up. And all his pedals. He proceeded to sound check for 2 hours. Johnny filmed it while eating an ice cream cone. It was odd. I left and came back, and he was still doing it. Extreme played. Johnny, you wanted to get a picture of his rig rundown, right? Were you checking out his rig?
Well, I have a friend that is a big Nuno fan, so I was filming it for him, and I was sitting there having. But I mean, I just said when he was warming up, it wasn't that great, and the tones were whatever, it's going into the thing. But then when he was on stage playing, the guitar tone was really cutty. It was really good. It was like he had that tone, like some kind of mid-range, like notch or something. And then my friend asked me if I would take a picture of his pedal board, and it was a Boss ME5, I think. It was like a pedal. But it sounded, he had great tone. Like he's got a good tone to his, sound, and he was really clean and picking really good and precise. And then, I mean, I just don't really I'm not really into funky rock kind of too much, but he played really good. He did that new song that everyone's talking about and did all the pull-offs. It sounded perfect. He didn't make any mistakes, nothing. I mean, it was like perfect. I thought it was good.
All the guitar players talked about Nuno that night. We then went to the Windjammer, and I ran into Jimmy Bell of Autograph and Red Beach, an old friend of mine who will be on the show soon. Second best finger tapper in the world, according to him. And they were talking about Nuno at the same time. Everyone wanted to know about Nuno's delay, and it was good. Anyway, I did hear earlier that night There was a report that a very famous singer for a band, they closed the restaurant at 3 o'clock. He threw a fit because he said he had to perform, and they had no food. There's other places on the boat, and there's room service, but we heard he got in the face of the employees, the washi-washis, and it was bad. I won't say who that person's name is, but it sounded like it sounded very high drama on the high seas. The boat was taking off while they were playing. Before that, they do this sail away picture because they had to do it because the first day was rained out. Eddie Trunk and a bunch of other schmucks come up and say things, and someone indicated that I should do the introductions. I do believe I should be much more involved in the future with the cruise. I have better subscriber numbers than everybody in the world, and thank you. And I think I do things differently. I don't do the "Are you guys ready to rock tonight?" This is different. That's why you like it. And you wouldn't be watching this if you didn't like it. So anyway, whatever. They all talk a bunch of shit. They take a stupid picture. I love the cruise, but whatever. Not everyone's going to be your flavor. Obviously Johnny doesn't like chocolate. So we after that, let's check our schedules. This is Monday, believe it or not, Monday the 1st. Johnny and I went to see Michael Schenker together in the ice skating rink, and we were blown away. We were exhausted though, and Michael Schenker played so soothing that he helped us. We were sort of falling asleep. Not a bad thing. We hadn't slept, and we were out in Puerto Plata. We were drunk on coconut rum. And he was incredible, though, Johnny. That was your first time seeing him that night, at least, right?
Yeah, no, he just plays very melodic, and his vibrato is so great. And those songs are they remind you of that era, So I did fall asleep a couple times, not because I was listening. It was great. I was just really tired, and we're out in the boats, soothing, and there was a lot of things happening.
What's funny about being influencers, if you will, is that people recognize you. I don't care. I like to be recognized. But like everybody else, I'll occasionally pick my nose or my ear or shift my junk.
But,
I don't do the butt as much, but Johnny. But you might pick a crack or two. Anyway, but people may look at you and then take pictures, which was happening. A lot of people thought John and I were a super couple, or they thought they were outing us, and they photographed us together in various moments. And we're all over the internet now. I have a gigantic butt. I have a J-Lo butt, and so people like to take pictures of me and Johnny, and we look like an awesome pair. Anyway, so Michael Schenker again. His name is Ronnie Romero. He was in Rainbow for a minute. This guy is good, and the whole band was good. Bass player is good. Drummer was outstanding. So anyway, we had a fantastic time watching them on Monday. We wanted to catch everyone, and we certainly wanted to catch people who we considered friends. At that point, Johnny, we wanted to see the end of Doro. We saw the last song. Johnny knew nothing about Doro. Our big hit song, "We Are All." My friend Johnny.
I knew that one.
You did know that one. Okay, that's the last one. My friend Johnny D.
Once it started going.
Yeah. Well, it's very repetitive. We are all we are. We are all. We are one.
Yeah, I know you were singing it.
Don't translate as well into English. Anyway, but they're great. And so we watched that. The guitar player was very muscular. He's like Kane Roberts times 10, and he's very serious. We told him that we enjoyed his show, and he told us, "I must break you." He was very. So there's a band called Marbin. I want to talk a little bit about Marbin.
Marbin. Oh my God, those guys are awesome.
Never heard of it in my life. They play in the lounges. They are incredible. It's not for everybody though. It's progressive. It's jazzy. There's a lot of fast guitar. If you like, as Johnny would say, Scott Henderson or Al Di Meola or Alan Holdsworth, even Frank Zappa. Remind me of Frank Zappa because there's horns too. And but all the guitar players on the boat come over and drool, especially Nuno Betancourt, who bowed to the guitar player. Do you know that guy's name, Johnny? I don't mean to put you on the
Yeah,
spot.
Danny. His name is Danny.
Yeah. They don't dress up.
They're great. Well, they're like a fusion band. They're kind of like a Scott Henderson trio, and they've toured with Alan Hallsworth. They're from Chicago. They play like Reggie's and the Green Mill, and just they're like a jazz trio. So those people, they're not like versed in that kind of music. So when they see it, they just lose their minds. But he's also a gypsy jazz player, which is even more, is another level.
He wears
and their name is the band's
around his neck. Yeah.
Marbin, Marbin.
Yeah. So if you're looking for some rock and roll, if you're starving like Marbin, this is the band to see. They're great. And they are great. I was getting a little bored, but Joe, we did not see Max Sabbath. I wish we would have. And then a question from Indy called Johnny Current Striper or Current Sticks. Johnny, pick one quickly because this is not interesting.
Oh, I'm a big Styx fan, but I like both.
Well, yeah, that's politically correct. So Marbin is good, but I can't sit there and watch that all night. And so I went down into the Royal Albert Hall and I saw a Winger. Winger is the greatest. I stand by what I say. Winger is outstanding. If you haven't seen Winger, Eddie Trunk and I were talking, name dropping, and he said, isn't it funny how Winger had the last laugh? Everybody made fun of them, 17 and those silly things, yet they are better musicians than, I don't think there's a better band on the boat. I will tell you right now, position by position. Piercy's band is...
What about Marbin?
Marbin's great too, but I don't think Marbin really has songs, and I don't think everybody knows them. They should. They're talented, but I can't take anything away from them. But I prefer a good song. Anyway, Winger played a great show. They were having some sound problems. The audience loved it. And I'm a punk rock guy. I'm telling you right now, Winger, they were great. So, and then after Winger, Johnny and I met up. It was around this time that Johnny met a young lady. Her name is Laura. She's from Switzerland. She is in the band The Burning Witches, and she was the one who oiled up her bum by the beach for everyone to see. Cool. And anyway, so Johnny and her connected. And
I don't know about that.
I don't think that. Johnny, tell us how
Here's what happened. What happened was we were walking past, and I said hi to her because she looked at me, and she said hi. I said hi.
Well, your eyes met. Your eyes met, and then it was kismet.
I don't think it was that. And then I saw her later, and then I realized she just doesn't really understand. She doesn't speak English very good. So I started introducing her to people because she said she wanted to, meet this person. So I introduced her to Nuno Betancourt. And he still doesn't know. No idea who he is. And then I introduced her to Gary Sharon and Michael Sweet. So I was basically taking photos with them, like, oh God, get in there, taking a and then, she explained to me a few things, which I understood half of it. And she's in this band, The Burning Witches. And they're very heavy. And I would think that if she were to lullaby you to sleep, she would scream you to sleep. Good night, little baby. But and then we seen her later, and she was kind of getting ready to go on. Well, she was going to play that night.
That's how it happened. You brought her. I was in the theater after Winger let out. I was hanging out with Eddie Trunk, who looked a little bit in the wind, if you will, and the great Scotty Ludwig, former LA Guns manager. Now that he is no longer involved with them, he tells great stories. I promised I would not tell them, and I won't. He apologized to asking you to iron his clothing. And he also may or may not have been two sheets in the wind. So I was sitting with them, and they said a jam was going to happen, the Tyson Jam. I didn't know who Tyson was. I believe his name is Tyson Leslie, I think. And
he's really good.
He's a bass player. He plays on a keyboard.
Plays everything.
Play anything, yeah. He plays keyboards in Vixen. He's a nice guy. So I said, all right, I don't usually do the jams, but I'll stay a little bit. So I told Johnny where I was, and he came in, and he was with a young lady. And
Oh,
it turns out there was this Laura.
with her.
You were together, and you were very close. It was different.
We walked, not true.
This is the
We
first time
walked in together because she's like, we were standing in front of the thing and it was going to start. And then we both walked in together and then we sat down like in a, in the middle of the theater.
Together.
Huh?
You were
No,
together. You came in arm near arm, and you sat arm near arm. And,
That's not true.
and Johnny didn't stay with me either. All of a sudden, his old buddy and co-host was out the window because Johnny had a lady, and I was stuck with a bunch of drunk idiots. But
you were sitting over there talking to those idiots.
Yeah, well, but I didn't want to listen, Johnny. Last thing you need on a date is a third wheel. So I respected Johnny's date, and I did what most men do when their friend meets a new partner. I went and kicked rocks, and also the jam was terrible. The first couple of songs were terrible. It wasn't the performer's fault. They were having sound problems, and I just don't like jamming if it's not rehearsed or something. Everyone had iPads. I heard it got much better, but I got out of there. I had no time for that nonsense. I did miss the Faster Pussycat Ultimate Pool Party. Shucks. Anyway, at that point, I don't know what I did. I probably went to the restaurant by myself, or I went and called Michelle. I don't know what I did, but I ran around. And then Johnny meets people, and meet people too. I was talking and mingling. Johnny stayed all night with his new friend.
We did not stay all night.
I
left
true.
Halfway through.
That's not true.
We did not stay all night.
Did you not walk her back to her cabin?
She's like, I'm gonna go to bed, and I'm like, I have to go too. And then we kind of just walked, towards the way we go. And then our rooms were
you helped her find her cabin.
Our rooms were on the same floor, but she was on the other side. And then I walked up there, and I'm like, I'm going this way. It's like, I'm going this way, and I'm like, all right, well, see you later.
But you made sure she got safe, and you did tell her that maybe tomorrow I would love to have. You did tell her that maybe we could see each other again.
I said I'll come and see your band.
Well,
which we saw a little bit of.
You did, so you did say that. Okay. Well,
she's on the boat. You said you wanted to see it too. You're like the burning witches. Let's see what they're all about.
Johnny, I saw her naked ass. I mean, I might as well see the band to go with it too. So anyway, okay. So Johnny and I, of course, like all friends, after he took her back to her cabin, he joined me for a smoke out on the pool deck, and we had another late night meal. Okay, the next day, can you believe we're on Tuesday now? It felt like we were on that boat for 6,000 years. Holy cow! On Tuesday, I do know we had lunch, and Michael Schenker had an Asian woman holding him around by the arm. He wore a mask. We watched him circle. It's a round buffet, big room. And he circled 4 or 5 times and then left without eating anything. Johnny and I followed him. We're not going to lie. It was fascinating. Next day, oh Jesus! Next day we were in the island of Labadee, Johnny, and Labadee, and that's in Haiti. And again, our good friends, the Thorns of Burbank, and us, we decided to hit the beach. And I had breakfast with them first. I had a great breakfast. I was giving Ramel, that's her name, Mrs. Thorne, some advice. She's looking for a business advice, of course, who would be more qualified. She's been working on, it was between me and the drumming life coach. She works for, I don't think this is a secret, she works for Grey's Anatomy, and she's a very successful costume designer. And she's done a lot of cool things. And I think she's got a bright future. I've been wrong about people before. I said James Gunn sucked. I said Jason Blum sucked. And but she's got something. Anyway, so we had a really nice breakfast, and we were laughing, having a good time. And we said, we got to go get Johnny. We got to wake Johnny and hit the beach of Labadee. But then Stephen Piercy decided he was going to come to Labadee, which was great. And with Christy, of course. So we all got together, the whole group, and we went out to Labadee. We got on the gangway, and not a gangbang, folks, please. get your head out of the gutter, a gangway. And we exited and we went to this island. Now, I'm going to get this sunburn thing out of the way. I'm going to show it to you, and then I don't really want to talk about it. As I said earlier, myself, Matt Thorne, and his lovely wife are all skin cancer survivors. Matt has had 5 surgeries. I don't think I'm talking out of school. I think that they're okay with this. And I had basal cell, and it was removed from my nose. People who watch this show know that. His wife, Ramela, had melanoma, which is a much more serious cancer, much harder odds. And she needed to have a surgery. She's doing great. But we're all cautious of the sun. Matt kept saying we don't want to end up like Bob Marley, and die. So I insisted that Ramel lotion you up, and Matt did not mind, and because I wanted Johnny to be safe from the sun, so that he doesn't join the skin cancer club. It's not a club you want to be in. I put the lotion on in the basket. I don't like to. I'm not good at it. I did cover my face. I put on my big hat, and I put on. I try to hide from the sun, but I wore a tank top. I don't usually do that, but it was hot as hell in Haiti. And oh wow, I see some good super chats. Hold on, I'm sorry, guys. I hope you're enjoying this. I see we're now at 10,000 people. I'm trying to keep up. Indy Colt says, Jason, Johnny, how do you deal with groupies? FMK. I mean, I don't know how to answer that. Johnny and I don't see groupies. Johnny obviously was dating a very successful singer from Switzerland, and I have my own love here in Las Vegas, California, whatever you call it. Tris, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you. Dang, I'm late again. Ice cream money. Appreciate that. Tris, you're going to want to go back and see it. This strange woman shows up at Johnny's door and goes into the bathroom with him. Well, wait till you see it. So I put the lotion on my arms. I didn't realize that I missed some spots, and I'm going to show you guys live right now what happened to me. And I am scared. I don't want to get skin cancer again. So, okay, I'm going to do a solo of me. And right there, I think you can see it. Johnny, can you see it?
Yeah.
I'm looking at the monitor. I see it.
Oh, yeah, I see it. Yeah.
Yeah, this whole thing here,
Jeez.
terribly red, and I'm going to show you the other one, which I think is actually the worst arm.
I don't have that.
That's what amazed me, because you were wearing a tank top as well. I'm going to tell you that it hurts really bad. It may be blistering in the sun.
I might have, my skin is different than yours. You have like really white, like milky flesh tone.
I've worked on being a hold on, let me bring it back, buddy. I worked on being the palest guy in the world. I like to be pale. The ladies like me pale. But Johnny, you're ripped and you have that Sicilian blood. It's a different type of thing. I don't want to be muscular. I want to be as thin as possible. I have to work on it. I'm getting fat, especially hanging out on cruises. But anyway, so we went out and we had a lovely time. We got a few chaise lounge, chaise cane, and some umbrellas, and we sat out. And Christy, she brought a bathing suit and got in the water, and I don't know if Matt he must have. I think everyone got in the water. Me and Johnny, they got in the water. I got in the water too. So I got in the water up to my knees or whatever. And Johnny and I decided to venture out. We found a bar where we had 2 glasses of water. Everywhere Johnny goes, someone buys him a drink. They love him, and they buy him a drink. So Johnny had some fruity thing there. And then we saw the official Labadee gymnastics team. And what they do, they do these flips and things, and they line up, and in New York, they used to do it on the subway. They go, it's showtime, and some fella would come in with his boom box, and then they go, okay, we's gonna do a dance, and then they would dance. And I don't know why it sounded like Amos and Andy, but they would do that. There's a movie called Kids. It's Kids is one of the greatest movies if you've never seen it. And there's a guy in the subway. He's got no legs. Have you seen it, Johnny?
Oh, it's terrible. Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, love it. So there's a guy in the subway who has no legs, and he's on a skateboard, and he goes, "I have no legs," and he shakes his cup of change. I used to see the guy all the time. It's a real guy, and that's New York for you. Anyway, this reminded me of that. So these gymnastic Haitians put out their cup, their hat, if you will, and Johnny goes, "Well, I'm going to join them." You know, as comedy Johnny is. Johnny got online, and every time because they would line up, and each would do the flip. As Johnny would do his flip, he would get a false start and have to start over again. You'll see this on the tour diary. All of a sudden, a white woman comes out of nowhere in her long bathing suit and does an incredible flip. Well, it happens to be
It was a round off.
A round off, that's right. And it happens to be Laura of the Burning Witches. And Johnny and her.
It was actually a cartwheel, and she lost her shoe. So
you watch the video and judge for yourself. I have the Zapruder film. Johnny, and then of course they start to connect, and they canoodle. They go into a hut, and I kick sand. I have to take the long walk.
It was like a restaurant underneath a big thing, with a million people sitting on picnic benches.
Allegedly, I kick sand and have to walk back a mile by myself. Here we are. You know, I thought we were a team. And again, Johnny leaves me for a woman. So I go back, and they say, "Where is Johnny?" And I have to explain that. Well, first he joined the Labadee gymnastics team, and then that she's back. And then I had explained that Johnny's seeing someone behind my back, and so I decided to do weather reports because people love my weather reports. And you know, Chris doesn't like kids. I knew Chris was an idiot. Of course you don't like it, dumb fuck. So Johnny stayed on his date for what felt like hours. I said
it was not a date, and then she just walked away. There was never any kind of like, you know, I would talk to her a little bit, just find her interesting accent from another country, you know.
You hit it and she quit it?
No, and then she would just turn around and walk away. I think that's how they do it in other countries. There's no like exit. You just, when you're done, just turn around and leave. Mm-hmm. A lot different than Vanessa.
Jeremy can't believe that the pirate stole my sleeves. It's very true. So I went back, and Steven got in the water. He was swimming and having a good old time. For a guy that people were saying, "You just want to meet the fans," I will tell you that he took a photo with every single fan and was very polite to everybody. He understands that it means something. If Steven's going to do it, he likes to do it in a situation where he can actually take a minute to do it. And so for the haters, he was very nice. And there's actually a nice picture of him and I on my social media. I said when I took this job and when I first started working with Steven a long time ago, I had no idea that I'd be on the beaches of Labadee with him. In fact, I didn't know what Labadee was. Johnny came back, you know, smoking a cigarette and kind of, you know, dancing a little nubile and to the beat of the Labadee drums. Obviously, he had a good time. I know he doesn't want to say everything that happened, but and you'll see the video when he comes back. Johnny has a confident walk to him as he kind of struts back and left me with the couples.
I think the words you're looking for. I was not wearing shoes, and I was hopping because the sand was 9,000 degrees.
It was very hot. I had to run through water yeah. But so anyway, after Johnny finished with that girl in the hut alone, he came back, and we had a night. It was time to get off the island, and we walked past all the guys selling bullshit tchotchkes and things like that. And I want to make sure I don't miss people. I'm trying to get the question. I'm sorry this is taking so long, guys. Oh, Indie Cult has a very important question. Jason, is your main source of money your channel or Piercy? That sounds like a personal question. I don't really know how to answer that. I will say that Stephen Piercy takes very good care of me. He's one of the fairest people I've ever worked for. I will not tell you exactly what I make. I promise you it's more than most people who tour manage. I am taken care of. And but we don't play all the time. I don't get paid when I'm not working. So I will say that YouTube is my main source of income. I can do this every day of the week. And I'm going to. This week, tune in every day for a tour diary, interviews every day, uploads on this channel. And so that, but everyone's very fair, but I work when we do that. I do this. John, I'm not I'm not an international man or mystery like Johnny. Johnny plays every fucking day, every fucking night. Johnny has a different talent than me. He can play. He's one of the premier lead guitarists in the world, and now, of course, for the Stephen Pearcy band as well. So let's. So we get back. We see our friends in Striper, and we talk to them for a little bit. Oz and we know them all the family now. Lisa Sweet, Star, Robert's wife, and of course Annie. Oz's wife. I've known her the longest. I knew when her and Oz just met. So anyway, then Johnny and I get back on the boat. But as we're going back, I see. This is the other day. I skipped it. The other day in the Dominican Republic, we're going back, and I see George Lynch, and I go over to him. He didn't look well. I said, George, how are you feeling? He said, hey, Jason, I'm very sick. And I thought he's putting. I said to him, is this a bit? And he said, no, I'm sick. I go, well, then why are you getting off on the boat? And he said, I think I'd feel better if I sit in the sun for a while. He was talking to a big, gigantic man with an accent. John, I said, okay, I hope you feel better. As I walk back, Johnny says, that big, gigantic man with the accent is Adrian Vandenberg. And then we met Adrian Vandenberg as we were getting back on the boat. He was very nice. Him and Johnny had a talk. When Johnny talks to famous people or influential people, Johnny tries to be a man of the people, but I don't think it's that he's uncomfortable, but Johnny says things like, you had the vibrato and you did the thing. Like Adrian Vandenberg didn't know. You're going to be all right. Johnny likes to tell everyone they're going to be all right. And that he liked this and he liked that. But people like Johnny. And so we had a nice exchange with Adrian. And it was fun to meet the guy. And we took pictures and all of that. But that was the day before. So Dominican Republic, we get back on the boat from Labadee. And at that point, we saw a little bit of Lee Aaron. Interview with Lee Aaron debuted today. It's on the channel. It's doing incredibly well. Find out why she was only really known in Canada. Find out about her controversial photo shoot with We Magazine. Johnny and I watched a little bit of Lee Aaron. We couldn't watch the whole thing. Johnny, you knew one of the guys in her band, right?
Oh, yeah. Sean.
Mm-hmm.
Sean Crash. It's from England.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the rest of them are Canadian. So we enjoyed it, but we couldn't stay long. And there was a Stephen show that night, and Johnny had to go get ready. But I stayed out a little longer because my friends in Winger were playing. And it was an interesting bill that night. It was Winger, Kicks, and then Stephen Pearcy. And if you know anything about music, they were all Atlantic Records recording artists, and they were all produced by Beau Hill. Kip made a good point. He said that Beau Hill really didn't change the Winger sound. Winger did what they did. But Stephen Pearcy and RATT, he said that they had a lot to do with the RATT sound. Beau Hill was part of creating the RATT sound. Stephen agreed with that. Beau Hill had said that the only two bands that he never had to use session recording artists were RATT and Winger. It's understandable. They're both bands filled with phenomenal musicians. So while Winger played, I went behind the stage, which is where I like to when Rod Morgenstein plays, I filmed him playing from behind, headed for a heartbreak. If you're a drummer or even just a fan of drums, it's outstanding. He's incredible. The things he chooses, the way he chooses to play his parts, is not something that you would see in an average hard rock band or glam band. Todd LaTorre, who is the singer currently for Queensryche, unfortunately, he was very nice to me because I want to bash Queensryche, but he was very nice. I sometimes think people do that intentionally. But he's a drummer, and he was filming it as well. And what is this racket, Johnny?
Oh.
Is that Vanessa calling you?
No.
Hello?
There's a dog out there. Hello?
Hello?
What?
Hello?
What?
Huh? I don't know. Anyway, so she, and then Jimmy Chalfant was there as well. And I got to tell you, I told him it was good to see him, and I didn't expect. I got a little choked up, Johnny. I hate to say it. The man had a heart attack on stage. He required CPR. Thank God his guitar player, Bob, who Bob, by the way, was very nice, and he liked Johnny. He came over to tell Johnny that he enjoyed it. His playing. Johnny said, "Who's that?" But he's in Kicks, filling in for Ronnie Younkins. But anyway, I believe it was him. I don't want to say it wrong because I think Mark, their bass player, was part of it too. But anyway, they saved Jimmy's life, and it's incredible. And when I told him that I was so glad to see him because I got a little choked up and I kind of gave him one of these. You know these, Johnny? And he gave me one back, and we're dating. No, anyway, he's a great guy and a great drummer, and I was so happy he was there. He did get up and play a couple songs. They're taking it easy with him, making sure his health is there. And as we said, Matt Starr is filling in. I'm going to tell you that Matt Starr did an excellent job, a really good job. Yes, he looks like Ming the Merciless, and yes, he's a life coach, but he did an excellent job, and he stayed back and let the band. For a guy who's subbing, he did it right. So anyway, I watched as much of Kicks as I could because I also had to go get ready, and then I have to go get Steven. And so in that time, I missed a thing called Nestor, and we missed Gabriella. But you can't do everything. Dueling pianos with Tyson and Will, and I guarantee you, Chad Stewart was waiting to sing there as well. Fast Pussycat and Stephen Piercy were on at the same time. I think that's a mistake, because they probably both have similar audiences. We did the show by
dog.
You calling Laura names?
No, these people, they just let their dog bark and bark.
No, that's not good.
It's like the equivalent of bringing your kid to Target and letting them like run around in circles and screaming and picking their nose. You got to talk to it.
Or bringing your kid to a buffet. Okay, I'm going to get to your questions at the end. Keep asking them. We're closing in on. I've never seen this many viewers.
I have to go eat something.
All right. Well, hold on, Johnny. We're on Sunday. I don't know. We're almost done. So on Tuesday, you guys played the pool. Blah 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 blah. And you were fantastic. I saw the pictures of you, Johnny. It was lights everywhere, and everyone's coming up to you, telling you how amazing you are, incredible you are. We had dinner with the Thorns, and we sat at the front table. And as everyone came in, I introduced them. Johnny's not much. I do this show. I know everybody in the business. Johnny knows what he knows. He doesn't have time to know who is in dirty looks. It's not his thing. He can't even figure out how to keep his fucking camera straight on his face. But he has a lovely chin, and he's apparently got an itch now as well. So it was a little bit crazy out. Whatever. I got some video. It was fun. Stephen Piercy, he's got all the hits. A lot of people were there watching. Jason Bieler was next to me watching from Saigon Kick. Who else did I see? I don't know. A lot of people. Is there anything you want to say about that show?
What are we talking about?
Cool. Stephen Piercy featuring Johnny Monaco.
Yeah. No, it's just outside. It's humid but there were a lot of people there. At first, there was nobody there, not one person, and then they just all filed in like right when it was time to go. And then they
were probably watching.
Thought it sounded pretty good.
It sounded good. We borrowed Striper's sound man. He's very good. I don't recall his name. Will Hunt got him in, and he did a great job. Sounded great. Your solos were blistering like the suntan on my arms. You played to the likes that most people haven't seen. Becoming the talk of the boat. In fact, I thought at that point Johnny was the most talked about guitarist on the boat. Most people said I expected the band to suck. I was surprised by that. But they thought it was great. They thought you were great. They thought Matt was great, and the other guys. And then and Stephen, of course, because Stephen really puts everything into it, and he was great. I will say that after the show, he signed as many autographs as he could. Again, for those who think Stephen was hiding, he was not. Anyway, so it was a nice show, and we met a lot of nice people there as well. Eddie Trunk did the introduction with Frank Hannon of Tesla. Frank Hannon came out. Frank Hannon, also a fan of Johnny Monaco, and with him and I talked. He said he's going to be on the show. Dave Rude and I have known each other for a long time. He's coming on the show. I know it sounds like I'm name dropping. We had a nice dinner with Brian Wheat. Johnny didn't know Brian Wheat. And Brian Wheat didn't quite get Johnny right away. Johnny was crazy and cranky and complaining, and I can't with this. And Brian said, "What's up with this guy?" And then when I explained that Johnny was from Chicago, Brian Wheat said, "I'm going to call him Chicago." and he liked Johnny more and more. And then I told Michael Sweet, well, why don't you join us? You know, we're eating over here with Brian Wheat. He said that he's met him, but he doesn't really know him. And I said, well, come say hello. He said, tell him I said hi. I said, you come over. They could perform a band. They could put a band together called Sweet Wheat. I think it would be very good. So he came over to the table and joined us for a minute. And a fan came over to Brian with about 50 things to autograph. Brian signed them all. And now Johnny and Brian and me and Michael Sweet, we're all best friends. It was really something. Okay. We never saw Tesla play. We're always booked at something at the same time. Okay, hold on. Let's ask Johnny a question. He's getting cranky. I can tell. He gets like this when he doesn't with his sugar when he doesn't have dinner.
It's fucking 2.5 hours. I'm sitting here.
What RATT solo and riff are Johnny's favorites and why? And then same for me. Okay.
What solo riff?
What RATT solo and riff are Johnny's favorite and why?
Oh, I like Back for More. Just because it's, I don't know. That was one of the ones I used to listen to growing up a lot. And Want It Man. I think those are two of my favorites. That dog is still barking. Piece of shit.
Johnny, if you need to go eat, I can handle this. If you need a break, this could take all night, Johnny. I can do it.
I mean, those are my two favorite, I think. I don't know. I think so.
Okay. Favorite riff of RATT? As a kid, it was probably Lay It Down. It's a great riff. And then favorite solo? Yeah. I mean, it just stayed in my head forever. And I still enjoy it. Favorite solo? I'm not sure I can answer. I like so many of those solos. I'm better at telling you the songs I like. I like Never Use Love and Right Between the Eyes and You Should Know By Now. I know those. I like a good chorus better than a solo. I'm not a lead guitar player. Okay, this seems like a weird one. Johnny, we got a weird question. I don't know what this guy's saying, but he writes all in capitals. Please be a man, Tracy. Talk shit behind my back, you riding my brother's coattails. Fuck you. It's Slash.
I don't know what that means.
Can you get a decoder ring? I don't know what that means.
I don't know what he's talking about.
And write it again in English. What do you Jesus? What do you think of Chris Holmes? We said he was great. He was. We had a fun time. It was good. David says next year I would be a better host introducing the bands on the Monster Rock Cruise. I agree. Tell Larry Moran. I agree. I'd like to come back. Okay. Some of these questions, guys, Johnny's getting cranky. I can't sit here and answer everyone. I'd love to hear more from Lines and figure out what the fuck are you talking about. Okay. Tuesday on the Monsters of Rock Cruise. Well, that's Laba D. We ran into Johnny's girlfriend again that night, and she had, I think it was that night, maybe it was the next day. She had a problem with her eyes, and she couldn't quite tell why. Lions Den, thank you so much. He says we're funny, even though I don't know what he was saying. But thank you. It's mostly Johnny. Anyway, she couldn't rinse her eyes, and we tried to explain to her that you just take the water and you cup it and you throw it in your eyes. She was walking around in sunglasses. Johnny offered to go up to her room and flush her eyes for her.
She had waterproof sunscreen in her eyes, and I said, well, have you used Visine? And she said no, and I'm like, well, have you tried to flush it out? And she said, well, I don't think you should put that kind of water in your eye. And I'm like, well, use bottled water.
Yeah. Well, Johnny, I'm going to tell you, I was walking around getting my food, and when I came back, there happened to be a lady at the table. Here we go again. I'm the third wheel, and now I'm trying to entertain Johnny's date. Yeah.
She couldn't see.
Johnny, I told her a joke.
Wandered over there.
I told her a joke, and you looked at me, and you said, she doesn't know what you're talking about. She doesn't speak English. You're wasting your time. I'm trying to be funny, and Johnny just told me, but I was being funny for Johnny, and I might have said that it might be better being blind on that boat based on the people what they look like. And Johnny just said, "She fucking no, she's from Switzerland." And so she's used to beautiful people. Anyway, she found her way back to her room without Johnny. That's when I knew the relationship might be in trouble. But I didn't want to. I didn't want to. I was there for my bro, Johnny. So okay,
Yeah, here, bro.
next day was Wednesday, Johnny, which is the last day. Thank God we finally got to the last day. They did a contest called So You Think You Can Shred. Kip Winger called me and asked if we had a drummer who could play. He said your drummer. I don't own Will Hunt, and he's just a guest. I did recommend Matt Starr come in and play. Anyway, or Audie Desborough, who's in Great White. They were all there. Mark Kendall's grandson Noah, he's a great young kid, and he plays the drums, and so he was helping. But Johnny, I don't want to talk about this forever, but they have a panel, and these guys come up and shred. Johnny didn't think there was anybody all that great. I think they should work that out in advance. I'm sure somebody on that boat could shred. Johnny said to me in privacy and confidence that a lot of the hosts were bashing, not the hosts, but the judges were bashing the people as they play, that it was becoming a bit of a roast. Am I wrong?
Yeah, they were. I mean, it was supposed to be lighthearted, but it was a little bit of a roast. Some were meaner than others.
Would you make fun of somebody who had the guts to do that?
I mean, if they're an adult and they're up there and they're going to get what they get, and they shouldn't be there, and there's, maybe, but I'm not going to make fun of someone who's really trying. And I don't think they did either. I think they made fun of the people that deserved it.
Okay, well, that's fair. Liam Phillips, thank you so much for the super sticker. So I give you a super thanks. But so I thought it was, I didn't see it, so I really can't say much. I did get the impression that the people who were attempting to be funny were not funny. Not going to call out anybody by name. And again, I didn't see it. Kip Winger was the host. I like Kip Winger. And he's very talented. But I didn't. I was doing something much more important. I believe I was counting the merch or collecting the money. So I went to do that, and I ran into my buddy Spike from the Choir Boys, and we had a long conversation. He told me a great story about Guy Bailey buying a drug-sniffing dog. It was I don't think he knew. The dog would go crazy at parties. Anyway, and Spike will be on the show to tell it. So that's so I was busy doing that, and I was hanging out with Steven and Christy a little bit. And so you guys went to the So You Think You Can Shred. We then saw a little bit of Dirty Looks at the Pool Stage. Jason McMaster, who's been on the show, is the singer. Someone wants me to call the bitch out, but I don't. It's not really worth it. And I'm not. I wasn't there. I didn't see it. Johnny's the one who said they all are assholes. I left out the night before. We saw a thing called Shiraz Lane. They were great. They're Finnish, and they brought their own sound man and console, and they brought their own lights. Lights were incredible. Band was fun. Sometimes Finnish doesn't translate to English that great. Sometimes there's lyrics like, we bring you the rock and roll, some of that kind of stuff. Time to make music, or whatever. I don't know. But they were good. Drummer was very sexy. If you're into that type of thing, he was shirtless and sexy, and also a great drummer. Really good. We all enjoyed it. And the Winger guys, all the musicians were watching. And I spoke to the singer. He's got a name I cannot pronounce, but he's going to be on this show soon. So that was that night. Then the next day, me and Johnny went to see a thing called Reckless Love. They were good too. Some of the songs did borrow from some of your favorite glam songs. Not that's a terrible thing, but Johnny and I know a good progression when we hear one. Some things were similar, but they've been around for 20 years. I like to have them on the show. The room they were playing was packed. I believe they're also Finnish. I feel like I should be royalty in Finland after I reunited Hanoi Rocks. I'm trying to see what else we might have seen. Oh, then next was the Mark Weiss Q&A. I got to wrap this up. I can see Johnny's getting impatient. He's checking his messages to see if Laura or Vanessa are contacting him. I did the Mark Weiss book signing and Q&A. I'm fortunate. Mark told me we were going to have some guests. One of the guests was Niels Lozauer, first time they'd ever been together. The East and West, great photographers. Johnny, being the friend that he is, came and supported me and watched and hung out. And my new friends, the Thorns of Burbank, they were there as well, supporting. Matt didn't have to do that. I neither did Johnny. I did single them out, and I asked Matt if he did photo shoots with these guys. Anyway, they were. I was nice. Now they told me that Jim Florentine, who's a comedian, who was going to be on the panel, but he kind of maybe thought he was hosting. But it was like the metal show. He was out in the crowd with the microphone taking questions. I was like Eddie Trunk, but a little slimmer. Johnny, is this a new thing you're doing, not showing your face?
What? Oh, I can't get the angle right.
Mm-hmm. All right. So I did my best. Now, I don't want to stay here all night because Johnny's already irritated. And there's nothing worse when he doesn't call me and, things happen. But so the way I do things is real. I have conversation. I don't use a game show host voice. And that's not what I do. I'm not Michael Buffer. Are you ready? I don't do that. I fucking talk and build a conversation. I build up to it. It was hard to do that while somebody else was involved as well, but no big deal. Mark sold 1 million books, or probably all because of me and
40.
Yeah, well, that's good because it was great photography. A lot of people have the book already. We're talking about taking it out on the road. Me and Mark, the Q&A, and it'd just be me this time. And he'll sell books. Well, I'm working on it here on the West Coast. He's a great photographer. The highest rated live show ever on this channel both belong to top two to Mark Weiss. Anyway, I thank those guys for coming out, and it was fun. And then after that, after I don't know what we did. We went to see Striper again to make sure that he wasn't wearing that shirt anymore. At this point, word has spread that Cernuto Betancourt tore his ACL playing basketball. I will tell you that they messaged me about putting together people for the basketball team. Will Steven do it? Yeah. Will Johnny Monaco do it? Johnny said if they're gonna, I don't want to do it because they're all gonna let Nuno win. Everyone's give the ball to Nuno because he seems like he'd be sensitive. And we both said that Nuno is probably overly competitive. He seems like the type who would say shirts versus skins, pull off his shirt, and then push people. Scott Soto was on the team. He's very tall. He may or may not look like he plays basketball. Joel Hoekstra is like 7'3". He was obviously the center. He was on the team. Gary Sharon was on the team. He floats around like a bird. Obviously, he was on the team. And then Sir Nuno, and he got injured very early in the game. He was on crutches the next day. I went to see him at the Royal Hall, and he was sitting on a drum throne. Johnny was with me. I made the joke that he was faking it for sympathy. It was just a joke, but some people overheard me, and their feelings were hurt, and some began to cry. Some people were very sensitive about it. And I apologize to anyone who was butthurt that I made a joke, and I wish Nuno a speedy recovery. He backed out of M3. I understand, though. Listen, painful injury, you probably need surgery. It was nice that he played that show for the fans. It is also helpful that their biggest song is played sitting down. We missed a bunch of these other bands, blah, 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 blah. There was some kind of farewell party on the promenade. It was silly. We waited 6 hours for them to drop balloons, and then we never even saw it. We had some other private party. I will point out the night before, Johnny, he told me I'm going to stay out tonight, and I went back to my room alone, and Johnny was, of course, out and about in the karaoke. People love to talk to Johnny. You think Johnny's always angry, but no, he talks to people. I run from a lot of the people that Johnny would talk to. Johnny was talking to the guitar player for Vane, and I think Johnny was trying to make a point of how understanding he is and how loosey-goosey he is. And she's got a company. What is that company called, Johnny?
Oh, I think it's Third Power Amps.
Mm-hmm.
They're really good. The amps are good. They're good sounding amps.
Well, maybe you can get a deal with her. Her name is Delana, for the record.
I don't really use the amps anymore, but I mean,
that's right.
It was good sounding.
Yeah. Well, if you ever transition back into amps,
Mm.
that could be for you. Anyway, last night party. The way the thing works is that you have to get up very early to disembark. People on cruises love to use cruise terms. It's a big thing, musters and embarkatations, and they love it. The bow and the stern and all that bullshit. Anyway, we got up really early in the morning, and we all got online to get off the boat. And a lot of people were worried about what happens if you bring an edible or this or that. And Steve Urshel warned that they will put you right in jail. It's very dangerous. The security could not have been lighter. This Guy Bailey's drug sniffing dog was nowhere to be found. I was not holding, just for the record, but security was very mellow. We got back to the United States. You have to find your bus, but they don't tell you anything. There's a lot of artists there, and so we found the bus. And I got to tell it quick because I can see Johnny is getting so impatient. Johnny didn't want
I'm
to
just
sit.
listening. What am I supposed to do? I'm sitting here.
Johnny didn't want to sit with me on the bus. He wanted to sit with Ted Poley and tame me down. I sat in the back of the bus like Rosa Parks. And Danny Nordahl asked Tammy, "Who is this strange guy you're talking to?" And he explained that it's Johnny, who you've known for 20 years. And they had a hoot. I was wearing these very loose shorts, and my passport fell out of my pocket. And I was concerned that I lost it. Stephen was concerned too for about 10 seconds, and then he left me with no passport. But Johnny springs into action like the guy he is, and he said, "There's no way you lost it. Let's go through your bag." Johnny went through everything, and he kept me calm. And he said, "Well," and also I had an expired ID. I didn't think I'd get on the plane. We ran out, and we found that the driver, one of the drivers, he said, "Who was your driver?" Johnny remembered the guy. He described him. And they told us that my passport had been turned in. Johnny stayed with me the whole time. We sprung over to get it, and I was fine. Stephen likes to get places fast. He's the guy who's the first guy to get up on the plane and then just stand there. And he is the guy who likes to get to the airport 8 hours early and wait, but he likes to be first, and that's okay. I should point out the night before, things got awkward between Johnny and Laura. I don't know what happened exactly, but suddenly she wasn't so interested anymore. Johnny's not going to tell me, but I think they had a lover's quarrel. We went to see her band. Johnny wanted to see her one last time. And Johnny had told me that he hadn't been on a date in a long time and maybe things were awkward. These are Johnny's words, not mine. So anyway, we went to see the band. It was possibly the worst thing ever. To me. It's just not my kind of thing. It's screaming and hollering and shredding and it was rough. And Johnny was sad to hear her sing such beautiful music and to think about the days that they had spent together on the Monsters of Rock cruise. I had to tell Johnny, it's okay. It's going to be okay, Johnny. You will find somebody else. And I dragged Johnny out of the room. He was a little sad. And it is probably the last time he will ever see her, except for in his mind. It didn't work out. Thank God Vanessa stopped by today. And all of a sudden, you saw this kick in his step again. Johnny was a happy guy because he's back out there again. He's back out on the basketball field. I hope he doesn't tear his ACL. So anyway, we had a great time. I'm doing most of the talking because Johnny wants to have dinner, and I have a better memory. I also have a list of things that happened. As you can see behind me, the sun is set, and Johnny needs to eat. He's getting cranky. Sorry, I'm going to answer a few of your questions.
I'm just you're talking and talking. I'm listening. What am I supposed to do? Interrupt you every 3 seconds and say something?
Well, no, and that's why Johnny's a great co-host, because Johnny has a lot to say, but he's not going to jump in on everything. He's not, if of course, Johnny, if you have something to say at any point, let me know. But I feel like you're ready to. A lot of people are wishing you well, Johnny. They're saying you got to get back in the saddle again. They're concerned. I don't know if anyone here has seen the burning witches. Was there anybody wearing creepy jean shorts? That's a good question. Like Lemmy used to wear. Did you see anyone like that?
Yeah, a lot of people.
Yeah.
Camouflage pants.
A lot of camouflage. A lot of people believe that Johnny gave her his rose. I think that's code for something. William would like to know, did you see hungry children in Haiti? No, they beat them and put them behind the wall.
Mm.
Never see them. Um, Johnny, someone's worried that Johnny's TV was spazzing out. Don't forget to hit the like button. Thank you so much. We need that. Keith saying the canon episodes have come in handy. Good shot. Jansen said it's going to be a while. Have a Snickers, Johnny. It won't be that long. Somebody makes a good point. Basketball for guys who are 40 is a terrible idea. Over 40. Some of these guys were over 50 and 60. It was a bad idea. I'm sure they'll think about it next time. There's probably a knitting challenge. I don't know, but maybe Nuno's going to sue and own the boat. Debbie Rashawn forever. Debbie Rashawn is an actress I worked with at Trauma. No one's going to know that, but Lions Den cannot wait to see us. He just said all kinds of crazy shit, so I can't wait. If you know where Johnny lives, go see him first. I can't wait to see you guys with Stephen Piercy. Chris never has anything good to say. Reckless Love, the singer, is hot. I hear that a lot. I think he's hot. I couldn't tell. Oh, God. Susan just got the new Winger CD today, Winger 7, so that's good, and we're going to talk about that soon. Chris says, Hannah Rocks was mentioned by Anthony McCoy during another. Chris is a piece of shit, and I'm going to tell you why he's a piece of shit. One, he's stupid. He comes on here and he says stupid shit, and he's a troll and all those things. Everybody asks about a reunion, you stupid fuck. But the thing is, and I'll say this, you probably should log out now, Chris. But Nasty Suicide and the other guys all said it was because of me. They did say that. And I'm the only one who interviewed every member of Hanoi Rocks. And I'm the one who got them to do it. I went to Michael Monroe and I said, I already talked to Andy McCoy, the guy that no one wants to talk to. I didn't make this up. I'm not bragging. The truth is that I got those idiots, those guys to do it. And for that, Chris, you're in timeout. Okay. Let's see. Did I miss a super chat? I'm sorry, Johnny. I'm trying. Eric Gare, drums, dinner fund, $20. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. Thank you. Okay. Look, you guys are all great. This is A.O. Vincent. I think it's A.O. Nuno's injury hurt more than words. Probably true. Somebody said the RATT singer is hot as well. I agree. Lines Den, Hanoi rules. Of course, you knew that I was going to put that moron in timeout. I don't block him, but I mean, it's going to happen. I don't know what this means. What does this mean, Johnny? Do Michael eating well yet? Do Michael eating? Elaborate. I feel like some people are watching this on the delay or something because you're asking questions for shit that happened 2 hours ago. They want the Red Beach interview. Red Beach has assured me he's going to do it. I'm going to text him, and he's going to do it. Might be after they get back from their tour of Europe. Red Beach will be here. Someone said a funny thing earlier. Did you actually see Reb on the beach? It's a good question that we did not. But I like that one. Much funnier than most of the things I heard tossed around the cruise. I would like to come back to the cruise. I'd like Johnny to come back to the cruise. I think we could do our show there. The goal is to have big numbers. That's all that anyone looks at. They don't care about it. They don't care if you're funny. They don't care. I'd like to get to 20,000 subscribers, and then we'll see what happens. So tell Larry Moran if you'd like to see me on the cruise. Johnny Monaco should be definitely judging the Do you think you can shred? Johnny Monaco should also be playing in the lounge as acoustic. He's an incredible artist and looper, and yeah, and he's available. So anyway, we should both be there. Overall, I enjoyed. Wow. I enjoyed it. Johnny, did you have a good time on the cruise?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty good. It's different, you know. It's just never. It's like a lot going on. A lot of walking around.
Yeah. Ken asks if you would share your details about your sex aids with Laura. I think Johnny's going to keep his romantic life private. Frosted Head says he would not see RATT without Stephen Pearcy. Well, I promise you that won't happen. So, yeah, Johnny, we had a good time. It's exhausting. It's a lot. I think if me and Johnny went back as hosts and musician, for him, obviously, I think it would be easier. I think we'd have more time to see things, and I think I can promote the hell out of that thing, just like I'm promoting the RATT box set you can buy in the link in the description. I think it was great. Barry Miranda does a good job. The people there are hardworking. I doubt anyone's still watching. 3 hours in, there's over 9,000 people currently watching. I know I've got to end this any second. I went to do an hour today. I'm sorry. I hope you guys liked our talk about the cruise. There will be other shows. We'll be live again. A couple of programming notes. And Johnny, I'll let you go in a second. A couple of programming notes. Starting tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, you'll see day one of the cruise, my tour diary, the terrific tour diary. And then every day following, you will see it until it's over. So this Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, with tour diaries every day. After that, Key West, part 1 and part 2. Me and Johnny kidnapped in a hijacking, hitchhiking incident by a man with one leg. I talked to a possessed doll. All of this and more is coming up, okay? And then as far as interviews coming up, Stacy Q, 2 of Hearts, Richie Ramone, these have been done already. They're coming up. All these people I talked to on the boat, some of them it's still private. I talked to Audie Desbrough today from Great White. He's coming up too. Good Shot saying that they loved hearing the stories. Thank you. 12 pack. So glad you're sharing the stories. Thank you. I can't keep up with everybody. Guys are going long tonight, but I appreciate you. Well, thank you. And hey, listen, Bendeo says if Vanessa is not a fan of the tour diaries, it's not for everybody. But I think Vanessa, as her and Johnny's relationship progresses and they share tub time together, I think she will become a fan. And okay. And then David R., thanks for great Friday entertainment. I love the channel. I appreciate that, David R. I'm trying hard to become the biggest influencer. It takes a long time. I need more likes, comments, and subscribes. And Johnny Monaco would like you to visit johnnymonaco.com. He's not showing his face right now. This is a new thing he's doing. He's showing you his Adam's apple. Oh, hey, Johnny. There you are. He's a powerful and attractive man. I felt like.
I don't know where to put this. I don't have my.
When Vanessa was in the house, at any point did you think about making her clap while she walked around so you could tell if she stole something?
I don't think she'd be able to hide it.
Well, yeah, true. Where was she going to put it? Okay, great show on a Friday night. He's showing us the Golden Girls. Yes, he is. Miranda says, who's the next interview? I think I just answered that. And there's so many more. But those are on Fridays. And today was Lee Aaron. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Oh, Jesus. Lion's Den. Johnny, Lion's Den has something important to say. I'll read it as best I can if I speak this language. Fuck you, Tracy Guns. You can't beat my brother's band. You didn't play a note on the best album in the world. Please try and have me canceled, you shaggy-looking bitch. Johnny, can you translate?
I don't know. I don't know what that means.
Well, we're going to try to figure that out and contact the proper authorities. But all right, I saw. Hold on. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Look, I'm gonna get out of here. We're it's 2 hours and 54 minutes. Thank you. I know you guys all love it. Dana Strum interview. Dana Strum and I may be working on a project that I'm not allowed to talk about. When that project happens, that's when. Uh, that's when. Here's Chris. Chris is going back into timeout for another 5 minutes. And there he goes. All right, Johnny. Is there anything you want to say before we go?
I don't think so. I don't really know. They pretty much said it all.
Yeah. Cool stuff, Jason and Johnny. And again, I will say thank you to everyone who watches. And we met so many nice people, on the cruise. I got to tell you, I didn't think I met one person who was rude or was a jerk or talked too close or was drunk. Everybody was very nice. It makes me happy that this little thing. I don't have the talent that Johnny has. Johnny is as I said, a Premier League guitar player. So a guitar player. You can see him, Stephen Piercy. I tell dick jokes, remember facts, and do my best to interview people. And so I think Johnny and I make a good team, and not in the way that you may be thinking. But great show tonight, boys. Of course, thank you. And I can't answer every question. This is the busiest crowd we've ever had. I can't get them all. I would like to. Join my Patreon, and to the people who join soon, I'll send you these pics from the cruise. No one got them unless they were on the cruise. And Johnny will have a Patreon soon. Johnny's new album, She Said She Found Her Soulmate. Stay tuned. Go down to your local Sam Goody and Nobody Beats the Wiz, Crazy Eddie. And a pre-order. Johnny's Got to Go Eat. And I thank you all for watching. Tune in tomorrow at 10 a.m. I'll be in the chat. You'll get to see the video to the things we talked about. Johnny, say goodnight.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you again very soon. Thank you and good night.